Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Another good night to own it as we take on over. The stars are out, the moon is shining, and we are bringing the woo to you. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott, and we got a great guest for you tonight. Julio Consiglio is our guest. We are going to get into a lot of paranormal and psychic experiences that this gentleman, the pride of Ontario, has had. And God, I hope he's not a Leafs fan. I hope he's not a Leafs fan, because we're literally going to have troubles. We're going to have troubles. All right, before we bring Julio in, let us say hello to everyone in our chat room tonight. Race fan in the gold medal position. Acreon with another silver. The gorgeous Kathy Evans taking home the bronze medal. Jeffrey DeRuin, Nightmare, Grand Paul Holland, John Swan, Ann B., Eris Manna, Mennonite, Abe. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Ann Palmer, who is awesome tonight. Jack Clark, the gorgeous Cosmic Fleur. Good to have you all here. Thank you for joining us as we lead on down to Dirty Filth. Dirty Filth is here. Good Edmonton kid right there. Give us a wave, Dirty Filth. We'd appreciate it. Luscious Jules, nice to see you here. Downshift, nice to have you back. Moon Freedom is here. Moon Freedom will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, Stunning Jeanette Sanchez has returned. The beautiful Samantha Hazelwood Gray. There she is. Dogface Boy from Australia. How you doing, buddy? Nice to have you back. Peppa H, good to see you. $5,900. Thanks for coming on in. Logan L is here. Logan will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio. To the right. Lovely LaDonna Blackwood, nice to have you back. Millennium, how you doing, buddy? E. Niles, nice to see you. Oh, there he is, everyone. Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby, yes. Mr. Man, Mister, thanks for coming on in. Obi Flett, good to have you back. Uncle Dale and his Power Stash are here, which means if you're in Austin, Texas, and you see Uncle Dale, rub his Power Stash for good luck right through tax time. Raz, thanks for coming on in. Noble Patrick, good to have you here. Stu Gerson, Mike Roberts, Black Dragon, one of our favorite veterans who joins us nightly. Noble Patrick, we love you around here. Steve Wolf, good to see you. Carfunibre, hi, Grandma. Hi, Grandma. Hi, Grandma. How you doing there, Sandra? The Michael Leger is here, everyone. The Michael Leger. Grantavius, good to have you here. Vash the Impaler, Mark Longoria. Thank you guys for coming on in. So we continue roll call. There is our man, Nicola. Nice to have you back, buddy. The Cryptid Huntress, looking great tonight. Margie O, you're looking beautiful as well. John Slaymaker. Connor from Bigfoot Anonymous. How you doing, buddy? The Unknown, what is up, my friend? And we'll talk to you. I apologize, I didn't email you earlier. Let's start the radio side here. And the lovely Nikki from Seattle. Thanks for coming on in. Hi, yay. Fapster, looking good, buddy. And Doug Ward, your hair is immaculate tonight. How's the moonshine? Give us an update. EMF, you're unbelievable. Oh, there we go. Had to get that one in. That's a first time for you. That will continue. D. Cohen, thanks for coming on in. Fedora wearing John Hudson. Glad to have you here, buddy. Thomas Rock, Evan Walters, nice to see you. Robert Garcia. Enzo, what's happening, buddy? Where am I? The I Believe podcast. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Digger Dog, good to see you. The super chat is open. It is a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you very much to those who are participating. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. And of course, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. Do what you feel that you like in order to help support the mighty SOR. Raven is Ryan. Good to have you here, my friend. We got about 10 seconds before we're going to launch here. I am excited about this show tonight, and you should be too. A lot of ghost stories tonight. A lot of woo. Get your woo bags ready. We may need them. Horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Try us on our brand new affiliate as well, digitally, Odyssey Radio, which can be heard live on iHeartRadio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a great show for you tonight. Julio Consiglio is here. We're going to learn about his paranormal experiences and psychic adventures. It's going to be a good one. He has a brand new book out as well. And, of course, we got the Swamp Dweller in hour number 3 with another spooky story. Then we will be joined by Bigfoot Michigan Rob in the Crypted Report right after. Shirky Poo then has the news. All right, let's get right to it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Julio Consiglio, good Canadian kid, is a spiritual author and teacher who focuses on the transformative power of inner stillness, the mind-body-spirit connection, and psychic abilities development. His message is that there is life beyond fear and incessant thinking. Boy, do I need some of that. Fear, incessant thinking? Yeah, that's Dave right there. And it is found in the dimension of inner stillness. Julio currently offers his conscious-based teachings to individuals and groups alike. He is the author of Challenge Your Thoughts, The Healing Frequency, and the newly released Open Your Third Eye, Activate Your Sixth Chakra, and Develop Your Psychic Abilities. We're going to bring him in right now. Julio, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. How you doing?
Thank you so much for having me, Dave. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
It is a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to have you on our show as well. And thank you for taking time out because I know it's late where you are. Let's learn a little bit about you, Julio. Have you always been psychic, or is this something that you developed through experience?
I always was sensitive to the energy around me, but nothing really sort of came to manifestation or fruition until I was 19 or 20 years old. The first experience taking place while I was away in the United States studying college.
So for you, you're somebody where we talked earlier before the show, and you've had a lot of paranormal and strange experiences your entire life. When did all this start for you?
The first psychic experience actually took place while I was studying in the United States. I was in first year, and my girlfriend at the time was finishing her last year of high school. So she would walk to high school, and one day she was approached by a stranger. He tried talking to her, and next thing you know, she's running to the high school to try to get away from him. She called me later that day, frantic, and told me what happened. A few days passed, and she began to receive crank phone calls now from this individual. I felt helpless. I was a couple of 100 miles away. I was studying in the United States. And this went on. So I was coming home every weekend, number one, to comfort her. And number two, I was actually driving around trying to find this individual with what little information I had. So a few more weeks passed, and the crank phone calls got so bad that the police got involved and they began tapping the phone line. And they actually traced it to an intersection. So my girlfriend called me and said, "Great news. We found where the calls are coming from." And I said, "Wonderful. Tell me where they are." And she refused. And I asked again, "Tell me where the calls are coming from." And she refused. As she was refusing, I can feel a buildup of energy start building up within me. In an instant, I felt a shot of energy shoot down, and then I literally had a vision and I screamed out, "Barton and Lottridge, I know where he is." She dropped the phone. She picked it up. She said, "How did you know?" I said, "It came to me in a vision." So I came home that weekend, and it was actually her mother who actually found out exactly where the individual was living. He was driving a kilometer away to make the calls, but he lived about 4 or 5 blocks away. So the mother went out for a walk one day and saw an individual standing on the balcony, and she instantly knew, this is the guy who's been bothering my daughter. I was home at the time. I was in town. I got the phone call, and I actually went down in my truck, and I really didn't have to say much. I essentially got out of the vehicle and I told him in no uncertain terms to leave her alone. Eventually, I think within 3 or 4 days, he actually emptied out the apartment. But there was no way I could have known where that phone call was coming from. I was hundreds of kilometers away from her. So that was the first sort of experience I had.
Well, that's one way to open up the old chakras and align the Zen and Chi, isn't it? Holy cow. That is petrifying, my friend.
It is, especially, you don't know what this individual's capable of, and then the experience of having it. The interesting thing is, I didn't make much of it at the time. I was about 19 or 20, and it wasn't until a couple of years had passed. Like I said, I've always been sensitive to energy, and it was in the past. It was described as, by the family doctor, "Oh, that's anxiety." But what it was is I was so sensitive to my energy and the energy of those around me. And if you could imagine everything to me that spoke to me, it was almost like, 1,000-watt speaker system. Everything, the downloads were incredible. And I really didn't know how to protect my energy or center myself yet.
For you, why do you think they, whoever they are, decided that that was the moment they were going to open you up? Because as a 19, 20-year-old kid, even though you're a young man, you're probably a strong man, wanting to protect your girlfriend, that seems like a very odd place for spirit to say, "Hey, it's time to open up Julio."
It was a glimpse into the potential within us, but it wasn't until my early 30s, after experiencing several wake up calls, and it was actually my experience with a night terror that ended up being a blessing in disguise. That was a catalyst. I will say the final catalyst for my shift in consciousness, and I can describe that.
Well, let's get into that in a little bit here because we're still quite early in the show and I want to get to know you a little bit more. Was anybody in your family intuitive, psychic, or having these types of experiences as well? Or was this brand new for you and the people around you?
This was brand new. If anything, I looked to my grandmother on my dad's side. She had a lot of faith, but other than that, no one really had experienced anything like this whatsoever.
No kidding. No kidding. That is that is pretty intense. How did you tell your family members that this was going on? For a lot of people, that's quite difficult.
Describing that experience, especially with my siblings, um, they sort of were left speechless. They didn't know what to say, and even, for example, before I even went away to school, I used to arrest shoplifters, and without fail, about 99.9% of the time, I would linger around the front of the store, and I knew who was going to shoplift, and it actually became quite easy for me. Not so much of a game, but when they came into the store, I would automatically, and I talk about this in my latest book, I would sort of send out waves of energy without even realizing it. And the information would come back and speak to me. And I just had a knowing, okay, who was going to shoplift. And I was with about 99% accuracy.
So as you decided, well, let me rewind for a second here because you got my brain going quite quickly right now, which is kind of cool. When this experience happened with your girlfriend and everything had calmed down, what did you learn about yourself, and what came after that?
What I learned from that was that there's a potential within us that is available to us, but for the most part, it goes unnoticed. And it is what I learned, and I carried this on later on, but I didn't was fully conscious of it. Desire is incredibly powerful. It sets the stage and it opens the door to possibility. So in that instant, I really, really wanted to know where the phone calls were coming from. And the universe, source, whatever you want to call it, did not fail me in that moment. And that experience of seeing right in front of me that street sign, Barton and Lottridge, that intersection, that just gave me a glimpse into the potential of consciousness.
Okay, so after that situation happened, did you start getting more types of premonitions like that, or did everything kind of calm down and go back to normal for a while?
Everything essentially calmed down for a while. I was experiencing, like I said, like a bombardment of energy. I'd pick up on people's suffering. I was very aware of my own struggles with negative energy, so I was very acutely aware. And despite all that, I still, did what I had to do. I got educated and eventually got married. But that the door really didn't crack open into the quantum field and into a lot of these paranormal experiences until after I made that shift in consciousness. And it was an evening with a night terror that really was the final catalyst.
I don't blame you. I really don't blame you. What happened next in your early 30s? So you've got this time between, say, the age of mid 20s to the age of 31, 32, whenever this happened. So well over a decade of really nothing happening psychically or spiritually. And then all of a sudden you kind of get hit by a sledgehammer here.
So between the ages of 19 and 33, I experienced quite a bit of adversity. So I had already been experiencing some pretty tremendous anxiety, and I tried the conventional route and nothing worked. As I was finishing hygiene school, as I graduated, I found out my older brother, my only brother, was diagnosed with cancer. So he fought that for a year, and that had a tremendous impact on me and created within me a lot of questions. Why do things happen the way they do? So he fought that for a year, passed away. I came back, started working, and then married my high school sweetheart, only to see that crumble 15 months later. So now we're coming into 2004. So shortly after that marriage breaking apart, I was given a cancer diagnosis. Now, you would think that was enough heat to create a shift, to create enough desire in me, but it wasn't. In the fall of 2005, I had an experience with a night terror. And it was that night terror that was the final catalyst.
So let's go back to that night, right before that night terror happened. All right, you were just having a normal night. You go do your thing. Watch a hockey game or watch Law and Order or whatever you're into, and then you go to bed as per normal, right?
Absolutely. And I've always been a light sleeper, even to this day. I've always been quite a light sleeper, and I don't need much sleep. This particular evening, I was lying in bed. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I suddenly had the sense that there was a very dark presence hovering above me, a couple of feet above me. I opened my eyes, and as I looked down at the sheets, they began to pull away from me. More shocked than anything, I sat up and was wondering what is going on. I jumped out of bed. I went downstairs, said a few prayers, and tried to fall asleep. The next morning, I went back because I had to get ready for work in the dental office. And I could still sense this really dark presence at the threshold of my master bedroom. I blew past it and essentially told it to take a hike. And that morning, jumping in the shower is where I'll say I hit my lowest low and I called out for another way. I called out, you got to show me another way because I don't know why I've been experiencing the adversities I've been experiencing. And this was sort of that final catalyst.
So take us through the night terror. What happened there?
So essentially, I felt the energetic negativity of something just hovering over the bed, and it just seemed to hover there. The instant I looked at those bed sheets, they began to pull away, and it wasn't so much fear; it was shock that how is this possible? How could this be happening? So if I was really afraid, or if someone was really afraid, they'd run out of the townhouse and probably not come back. And but I went downstairs and I essentially got on the couch, said a couple of prayers and try to get to sleep. But when I reflect back on it, my question is, regardless, but was that already there in the house, or was it coming into that low point? Did I through maybe some psychic energy create that to cause me to seek another way to shift my awareness? So even to now, I can't say 100%. Was it already there? Regardless, there was perfection in it because that was that final catalyst I needed.
What scared you so bad that night?
It was the shock of that they could actually manipulate material objects. So they the fact that the sheets could be pulled off me, that caught my attention. In terms of fear, it was more surprise that this was even possible. It was quite shocking that energy could literally manipulate, because I'd never experienced anything like that before. Could manipulate something in our 3D reality.
I can see where that would absolutely startle you. You've said a couple of times, almost in a plural sense, that they did this. Was it more than one spirit that was there haunting you?
I would say it was one. It was probably one entity, whatever it was, and it remained in the bedroom that night, because as I returned to the threshold, it was energetically, I could sense it. I could almost hear it. It was right around the threshold. So it was probably more than likely a single entity.
Did it show itself to you?
It did not. It did not. It was energetic. I there was no way in mistaking what I felt. It was such a dark contrast to my vibrational frequency. It was, you know, you could almost feel it, but definitely sense it. Absolutely.
Now, this being something that you hadn't really sensed before, what are you going through as this happens?
As this happens, you know, there's quite a bit of shock coming over you because, you know, you're wondering, you know, what's next, or what is this entity or energy capable of. So at the moment, you know, there's no clarity. There was no clarity yet, so I didn't fully quite understand what it was. I just knew that this was a negative entity. This was negative energy, and I really just wanted to understand. I wanted to understand why this was happening, and I also wanted to understand why I had to go through the things that I had experienced up until that point. So it had me begin to question more. If we say, you know, desire, at this point mine was white hot. I had a thirst to understand the hidden mechanics to life, why things happen the way they do, and why this was occurring.
Hmm. And it put you on a quest because I know, at 38 years old, when I was kind of hit by my own bug, so to speak, if we could call it that, it brought every piece of energy that I had to focus on what was going on. Did your life shift like that too?
The experience had me seek and had me desire quite powerfully, you know, to understand what was going on. So what happened was, about a week or two later, I'd been staring at a book, and it was by Dr. Daniel Amen, of all names, and it was called Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. And I had been staring at that book for about a week after this experience, and I was getting nudged to go buy it. I didn't get past page 60 or 65. There was a phrase in there, and the phrase went something like this: when you allow negative thoughts to go unchallenged. That struck me. And it said you could even write down your automatic negative thoughts and look at them. So that, when I read that sentence, it shifted, it began to shift something in me. I left it in the passenger seat of my car, and on this cold day in November, I had a patient cancel, and I did what I normally did. I jumped in my car, and I would go and drive a few blocks and just try to relax, because you work in a dental field. There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety, and I usually worked without a lunch break. So I would work 8, 9 hours straight, essentially with nonstop. I wouldn't even really take a lunch, and I was used to that. To me, it was quite easy. So on this particular day, a patient canceled. So I jumped in the car, parked, and I began to reflect on that phrase. When I began to reflect on that phrase, as audible as you can hear me now, a voice came up through my chest and said, challenge your thoughts. And in that instant, the brow chakra, or the third eye, opened.
I'm going to get you to hold on right there, Julio. Julio Consiglio, author, teacher, spiritual guide. We got more with him when we return on Space Out Radio for the second half hour. Things are getting just interesting now. Let's do this thing tonight. And we're clear. So our YouTube audience is still able to hear us. Our radio audience cannot.
Wonderful.
Our podcast audience can.
This
but
is
our
wonderful,
radio-
Dave. I'm really enjoying this.
Good. I'm enjoying it too.
Excellent.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Thank you.
I'm just saying hello to some people who just arrived in our chat room.
Nice.
I am not wearing a man bun, Tom. There is no man bun here. Don't even get me wired up again. Damn you. Damn you. Ugh. Not fun. Mm-hmm. 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 Let's oh man. I'm like on the edge of my seat with your story, man. I love shit like that. I really do.
It's been incredible. It's been incredible. And once the shift happened, a lot of life opened up.
Mm-hmm. I believe that.
Yeah.
Did you get I should ask you this during the show. But did you get the entire gamut of experiences, or did it still kind of stick towards the paranormal and consciousness?
It was I've had the mystical, and even one. If I backtrack a little bit, as my brother was passing away, the weeks before he passed, there was a vision that took place in the hospital as I got off the elevator to go see him. So, but post, once I made the shift, I began experiencing the automatic writing, doing the workshops, and just tuning into some clarity and wisdom to live life more empowered.
Come on, tell us the truth. You got some aliens, don't you? You got some aliens.
October 2020. Me and my two
Save
neighbors
that story.
began. Yeah,
Save that story because I know you got aliens. I can tell.
But I'll just say the date. That's when it started with the three of us combined.
Oh yeah, I knew you had some aliens. I knew it. You can't go through this without getting some aliens. That's all I'm going to say for right now. Can't go through this without some aliens.
It's what I'm writing on next. That's what I'm working on.
Now you're getting tasty there. Yeah. Now you're getting tasty. This is the juice that we want to drink tonight. We're in for some good stuff here, people. We're in for some good stuff. Let's make this happen tonight. Mm-hmm. Let me go here. And anybody else join us here? We got about just over a minute here.
Perfect.
It's nice to run those little sprints instead of one long marathon, you know?
It's actually a nice little break. I thought we were going to be in the clear here, but we're getting freezing rain here tonight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. You deserve that out there. You do. I had snow the other day.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Hey, there's gorgeous Amy Vegas. Oh, she'll be attending the Vegas party next month. 29 days, people. 29 days until we gather in Las Vegas. Toe Tag, how you doing, man? We got 30 seconds.
I saw. Are you going to be attending a UFO con too?
Yeah, this weekend I am in San Francisco.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Zune, how you doing? I'll be in San Francisco this weekend for UFO Con 2022. I'm the opening speaker Friday night. So
that's wonderful.
All right, we're going to get going here. Super chat is open. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. And let's rock and roll. We're coming out here right now. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bubblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Author Julio Consiglio is our guest tonight. His website, JIULIOConsiglio.com. It's got a brand new book out, Open Your Third Eye, Activate Your Sixth Chakra, and Develop Your Psychic Abilities. We're just going to be getting into that here in a little bit of time. But first, we got to get more into his own stories, because as I asked him during the break, I said, Julio, just admit it a little bit. You got some aliens, don't you? You got a little bit of aliens hanging out, maybe in your back pocket, or, tucked into a jacket, inside pocket, or something like that. What happened?
With October 8th, 2020 is when me and my two neighbors began experiencing sightings. And I actually have the first sighting posted on my Instagram. I believe the date is December 9th. We were in the backyard, and we had already seen one object that looked like a black hula hoop shaped object traveling a couple of 100 feet in front of us, above us. It wasn't making any noise. It didn't look like a drone. We couldn't see any propellers. And we watched it cruise for about 10 or 15 seconds and disappear in the distance, miles and miles away. We shifted back to the backyard. We couldn't make what that was. And we're on the far end of the backyard, and I'm looking out to the clouds, and the sun was setting, so it was quite bright still. And I see a white pill-shaped object moving quite quickly at a 45-degree trajectory downwards. And you can, if you check out that video, you hear me say, "What is that?" It made no noise. Now, I filmed, I think, about 10 or 14 seconds of that object, but the video does not even serve it justice. With the plain eye, it was incredibly shiny, and because the sun was hitting it, it was quite bright. That was our first collective sighting.
That is incredible. And the fact that, all the hype and talk is around that silly little tic-tac type of object, and here it is in the sky for you, being a first-time experiencer of UFOs. What was going through your mind and your friends' minds?
What is that? How is that possible? There are no wings. I mean, the trajectory at which it was moving, as incredible as this experience is, and having recorded that one, it pales in comparison to what we experienced about 7 or 8 days later. And it's since that time, I say this, I've said this in a previous interview. Had I not witnessed what I'm about to share with these two gentlemen, I'd be very reluctant to share, because it is absolutely incredible. And even being there firsthand, this is too incredible. About a week later, in the evening, we're in the back. It's me and my two neighbors. And we're about the center of the backyard when I suddenly, for no reason, move about 7 or 8 feet away from them. As I move away from them, and it's a pretty clear night. There was really no clouds. I get the vibrational signal, the vibrational urge to look straight up. As I look straight up at about 300, 400 feet, a slow moving, silent, black triangle. I said, guys, come over here. My one neighbor says, are those birds? And we've had a few instances with that. I said, take a closer look. And what I recall is seeing circular, and I didn't count them at the time, at that point, circular gray pads underneath it. There were no lights. The only lights were coming off the street lamp, which was about 50 feet away. We stood there stunned. And I look back and I say to them, why didn't we run out into the street, to follow this? But you're in such shock, you're frozen. And this happened for about 4 or 5 seconds. It was moving incredibly slow, silent, no noise.
I've seen something similar. And so the fact that you said there was no noise and it just kind of vanished or flew off or disappeared or whatever it did, I mean, at that time, I know how I felt and many others felt when they've seen those same type of things. But did you feel that at that point you were quite small as a human being and there was more to all of this than what you could even fathom?
It is the first thing I'm going to say is it's right up there, and it's as profound, if not more profound, than the shift in consciousness that I made back in 2005. That's how profound it was. And we tried. What was this? You even throw in, oh, is it possible this was military? But I shared with the guys. I got the signal, I got the vibrational hit to look straight up. So there was that connection. And when you're looking at this and you're sort of trying to realize, come to terms with what it is, it's absolutely astounding. And I think experiencing the paranormal stuff in terms of seeing shadow people or seeing an entity, it prepares you. Like, when you experience those things, you realize, anything's possible. But until you experience it for yourself, and when you do, to me, the experience and the ones we've had since then are incredibly uplifting. There's no fear involved. It is a very high vibrating, high energy experience.
It's amazing that you just said that it's a high energetic experience, because a lot of times that gives good confirmation for our audience, actually, because a lot of times when I have talked about this to them with other guests or on my own, and people say, well, how do you tell the difference between something paranormal and something extraterrestrial or ultra terrestrial, whatever you want to call it? The ultra terrestrial energy or extraterrestrial energy is so much more of a high frequency. It makes you giddy, it makes you scared, it makes you freak out, but it makes you curious and everything. Whereas paranormal type activity is very heavy on the shoulders. You feel drained, you feel heavy, sluggish, maybe angry. Did you go through those same feelings?
If I look at the contrast, so if I compare it first to that first night terror, that was, yes, low, heavy, dark. The paranormal stuff that I experienced after making my shift, I came with an awareness and understanding of what they were. There was no fear on my part, but I could fully understand how someone could be terrified. When I compare it now with these sightings, they are, again, completely uplifting. Like, I literally feel I'm quite in tune with my energy. The chakra is just lighting up. Absolutely profound is the word I want to use. Spiritually profound.
Have you been taken?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of.
Have
Not that
you
I know of.
seen extraterrestrials?
I haven't seen anything. It's only been ships, so triangles, spontaneous flashes of light. I actually have more than one clip of my brother-in-law and I coaxing the flashes and the flashes going off. And I finally, in January of this past year of 2022, made the connection. What is the source of these flashes?
Your aliens are coming. You know that.
It's the triangles. Yeah, yeah. So they're waiting. From what I get in my channeling in writing this next book, is they are essentially waiting for humanity to meet us halfway. We need to let go of the violence, the fear, and that thought of separation, because there is a unifying consciousness. There is a unifying factor that connects us, and it's that universal vibrational frequency of inner stillness that is at the core of our being, is at the core of their being. That is what connects us.
Are you ready for ET contact personally?
Personally, I would be ready. I would be ready because I'm already operating through that vibrational frequency of inner stillness. So the mind is quiet. So there, it would only add in the sense that what they come, because these are highly evolved beings. They're operating fifth, sixth, seventh density frequencies at the very least. So they, it's sort of like, if you get someone who's really, really ego involved or really dense and third dimensional, they're probably not even going to see things like this because there's that closed mindedness possibly. But as you awaken or as you unfold and your consciousness expands, you become more open, whether it's a paranormal experience or whether you just become more sensitive or these experiences.
Very true. Very true. And I thank you for sharing that because, I think for a lot of people out there who haven't had that experience but want that experience, for you, are you now calling it in? Are you summoning these craft to try and make communication?
The astounding thing is this: they are connected through us, through the universal consciousness. There have been moments where I've gone to throw something out in recycling in the back porch. I had a neighbor on his porch. As I threw it out, massive flash through the clouds. So they know when I'm around. They know when I'm about to go outside and look. There's not too much of a protocol, except that, if you want to experience these, I would suggest go without expectation. Just be in the moment and just let what will happen happen. Because when and if you're ready to experience a sighting or even a spontaneous flash of light or an object, we have to sort of come with that neutrality, that openness, and sincerity, I want to say.
Very true. That's actually a very, very astute way to put it. And I don't get to use the word astute a lot around here, so I'm going to take advantage of that right then and there. For you, as you continue to open up, because your opening really just happened a couple of years ago, what do you think is next? Are you manifesting any type of contact, whether it's extraterrestrial, cryptid, or something more etheric, or do you look for something and just let it come day by day, whatever happens happens?
Part of it is exactly what you said. So I'm just open. So there's no expectation, but in wanting to have greater understanding of this triangle, the intelligence behind it, and connecting the dots, why it's showing up here in Cambridge, Ontario, this little small city. Uh, it's part of that, and then in starting to write, I'm sort of tuning into and tapping into the collective around this, and I'm getting some pretty incredible answers that is just giving me what I sort of understand on an inner know.
Oh, he froze up there. The aliens got him. The aliens got him. Let's take him out. Maybe it'll reset itself. Otherwise, he'll have to reset himself right there and go from there. But this is interesting. He is saying and this is really resonating a lot with me tonight, this conversation with Julio Consiglio, because a lot of this, what he is going through, is very similar to what happened to me back between 2011 and 2013. And I am absolutely fascinated by what he is saying, because it's actually bringing back a lot of very, very uh, pertinent memories, shall we say. And I don't really know how to explain it. I mean, the feeling that you get when you are just learning, like we talked about the entire phenomena about how extraterrestrial or ultra terrestrial energy is so much more on a higher frequency than that of the paranormal, which is down, which is out, which is very, very depressing, if I could use that word in a proper sense. I mean, it weighs you down on what's going on there. We got Julio back here. A little bit of a snafu there, but that's okay. I was just saying to the audience while you were gone, I'm so intrigued by your story right now, Julio, because I'm about 9 years ahead of you in this. And it came out of the blue for me too. And just the way you're explaining everything as to what's happening to you, whether it's the flashing lights in the sky and calling them in over to your house, or just the way that you are having these things happen, man, it is like for me listening to you say this, it is really like somebody took the exact same formula that happened to me and moved it over to you now.
That's incredible.
It's a deep conversation that we need to have.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, because literally, I worked with I call him my guru. His name is Pascal, a giant French Canadian, and when he shakes your hand, his hands are soft as butter, but when he shakes your hand, he lets you know how strong he is, and he's got that 6'3" offensive lineman type of build. And when Pascal opened me up by saying, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? That's where everything changed for me, much like it changed for you. And I'm a little blown away right now, if I could say that in complimentary fashion, by what I'm hearing from you tonight, because this has literally changed your entire manifest destiny of your own life.
Absolutely. All the adversities that I faced set the stage for this unfolding of consciousness within me, and becoming hypersensitive to the energy within me, without, and be able to read information. Had I not been so in tune with my environment, receiving that vibrational hit with with the guys next to me, I could understand how that could be missed. And then that triangle, that night in particular, and there have been other nights where it's actually been more obvious, but that night it was so blended in the night sky. There is no way. And one of the guys thought, no, those are birds. I said, take a closer look, and their jaws just dropped.
Mm-hmm. I totally believe it. I totally believe it. For a lot of people who see the flashing lights in the sky, Julio, a lot of it you do have to be careful with, because a lot of it is iridium flares coming off of satellites or the sun. There's kind of you have to wait a couple hours after sunset in order for the sun to drop below a certain level on the other side of the world, so that way it's not reflecting off the metals of satellites here. And I don't think a lot of people fully understand that satellites don't have lights on them. They're out there in the dark. So for you, when you were calling in these flashing orbs and they're coming, and all of a sudden they, it's almost like their trajectory starts to happen right over your house.
Yes.
What's the difference between what you're doing there and, say, seeing something that has an iridium flare or a sun reflection?
So the difference, what's happening is, I'll give a perfect example. So January 2nd this year, I went to go throw out recycling, and there was a massive flash as soon as I stepped out. The neighbor next to me saw it. So I thought, okay, I'm coming outside. So I came back outside, walked towards the parking area, saw another flash near the roof line, and then I have it on film. I said, do it again, big flash. And then you see a big flash. And then do it again, a second one. Later that night, a few minutes later, I'm in the back, and that's when I made the connection. I'm standing in the center of the backyard, and one of my neighbors is on his porch facing me, and I look straight up, and triangle whips right over us, a couple of 100 feet, very quickly. So that night, I made the connection with these lights and with that, because the lights had been happening 4, 5, 6, 7 times prior to me making the connection. And there was once in the summer with my brother-in-law. We would see a flash, and then you hear me coaxing it. I believe it's I can post it in my story tonight. You hear me coax it at around the 4 or 5 second mark. It's a pretty big flash. And then around the 13-second mark, a secondary flash. So they're responding it's that connection. So it's been absolutely, it's incredible. That's all I can, that's the word to describe.
For me, I would sit out with on our patio, and we would put our lawn chairs back and lay them right down, and we would just stare, and we would watch these flashers, which we called them back then, fly, and it always seemed to flash over top of our house. It wasn't over to the left a few miles or over to the right a few miles, and if it was coming over our house. And I thought nothing of that because I wasn't really a UFO guy at that point. And it wasn't until April 10th, 2013 for me, where I actually got called out of my friend's house at his farmyard in Mission, British Columbia, where, when we finally figured it out, there was a UFO on the ground, and it lit up on my command 3 times. The third time it lit up, it turned its lights off after 30 seconds, but then it started flashing on the ground. It would turn its lights on and then off, on and then off, on and then off. It did that about 10 times, and then it went off for good. It was like that craft was telling me, all the stuff you saw flying over, that was us. That was my confirmation that I needed, that it isn't always iridium flares. It isn't always some sort of reflection from the sunlight at a certain angle, even though I do believe that is strongly a strong answer for that. But there is something different to it. You can feel it.
Yeah.
You can definitely feel it. And I know you understand that. We have another hour left in this amazing conversation tonight with Julio Consiglio. He is the author of a brand new book, Open Your Third Eye, Activate Your Sixth Chakra, and Develop Your Psychic Abilities. It can be found on his website, JIULIOConsiglio.com. He's a good Ontario kid, so make sure you support him. Definitely. Yeah, this is the real deal. I can already tell. There's no BS here. This is the real deal. It's Dave approved. Spaced Out Radio's hour number 2 with Julio Consiglio. Coming up right after this break. Stay tuned. You're the real deal, dude. I could tell.
I appreciate it, Dave.
There's no bullshit there. I could tell.
The astounding thing is, more like the other experiences I've had. We didn't go looking for this.
No.
It just spontaneously happened. So um, I have December 4th was a pretty whirlwind of an evening that we can share next. And
Let's do that. I'm going
yeah,
to take a bathroom break.
yeah,
We got about another 5 minutes. I'll be right back. Okay.
awesome.
All right, dude.
Yeah. Thank you for the comments, everyone. I'm seeing the comments. I see the one question by Michael. Do I see light flashes before I fall asleep at night? Actually, what happens 6 months before making my shift in consciousness into stillness, I began experiencing actually spontaneous bursts of light. They would be either purple, gold, silver. And I remember mentioning it to the cancer specialist, and his comment was, well, we didn't treat your face, so I don't know why that's happening. So yeah, those are some of the experiences I've had. Hello, Shelley. Where in Ontario am I from? I grew up in Hamilton, but I'm living in Cambridge, Ontario right now.
Having fun yet?
Yes, I'm reading the comments and I'm responding to some of them. Some really
good.
great questions. So I'm really,
Yes.
really appreciating it.
Oh, yeah. They're loving you, man.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yes, I can sense energy around me. Yes, most definitely. Not just around me. When you're tuned into oneness, there's not too much, I would say, that's hidden in one sense.
That is awesome, dude. Can you pick up remote viewers or astral travelers?
I haven't tried that yet, so that would be interesting. But um, I can usually place my attention on somebody, and a lot of times pick up what they're sensing, feeling, or a lot like, for example, retrocognition, look back and look at something and then sort of pick up some extra information. So that's available to all of us. Being able to read energy. We're connected. I talk about this in Open Your Third Eye. Energy, basically invisible energy circuits. Everything is information. And it's, when you're tuned into that quantum field, you're essentially reading it almost like a book. It just unfolds because there's no resistance in you to reading it.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. That's a very good point. We got about, let me see here, about a minute left. There's good stuff here. Very good stuff tonight. Oh, pardon me. We got about 20 seconds left. I want to say a big thank you to Noble Patrick and the gorgeous Liliopatra for the amazing super chats tonight. They're a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you so much for that. And thank you to our new subscribers and all the veterans who are hanging on out. You always got a safe home here in our chat room. Here we go with hour 2, everyone.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and Odyssey Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Sajin. Sajin is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with author Julio Consiglio. His website, JIULIOConsiglio.com. You can find his latest book on there. Open your third eye, activate your sixth chakra, and develop your psychic abilities. Yeah, this is a real fascinating story for me personally tonight. Julio, thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you so much for having me, Dave. It's been like an absolute pleasure and joy being here talking with you.
Absolutely, and much appreciated myself for your attendance as well. I want to ask you regarding the experiences as you started to culminate all of these together. What made you decide to put pen to paper? You've got 3 books out right now, including your newest one that just came out. Why did you need to write all of this down? What made you become an author?
Well, with these experiences in particular, I actually began making makeshift notes, almost like makeshift journal on blank paper between that and my cell phone. So it was like, experience, 2 weeks ago by another experience, May 2021, another experience. It was almost happening monthly. The orbs that we see, for example, or the objects in the sky that cruise slowly and vanish before our eyes. I have tons of video of that. I probably have 40 videos on my phone in total. So, with the other books, I had to share the shift in consciousness that I went through to let people know that there is something beyond the thinking mind, and it's a dimension already within us. It's inner stillness. That's where Earth is headed in terms of, we've been hearing of new Earth and, humanity awakening. The awakening is awakening to that consciousness of stillness within us. So that's what we're talking about there.
Very true. How did you start to define your own spirituality as these situations happened?
In regards to the extraterrestrial and these crafts?
everything, your own internally, your own personal
Yeah.
spirituality and consciousness.
So you instantly realize that the body is temporary, as is the thinking mind. So, we come into this realm, we take on, and there's perfection in this. It's important for me to mention this. We take on an ego, and we need to, because it gives us that contrast and allows us to experience what it's like to be human. But that is only a tiny aspect to the totality of who we are. Beyond, if we shift beyond the thinking mind and we come into stillness, there is now no separation between you and source energy, between you and everyone else, and between you and everything. And I could prove that in about 30 seconds. You cannot get angry at someone else without you feeling that anger instantly. You cannot, for example, hammer a nail, hit your thumb, and get angry at that hammer without you getting angry, because you and that hammer are one. So oneness is the reality that is experienced in the quantum field. So what I've realized is that separation, thinking we're separate from each other, that's illusory. That's an illusion. The truth is, we are more powerful than we realize. We are connected with universal consciousness, and all we need to do is become aware of it. Awareness is everything, because we are so powerful. What you become aware of is what you give life to. And the minute you become aware that there is a dimension within you of inner stillness, which is a piece I can't even begin to put into words, because it's not attached to the outside world, your whole life will change and shift and unfold, and you can't imagine what will unfold before you.
Where do we find this within ourselves?
That's a great question, and it begins by realizing the eternal moment of now. So as human beings, we've been conditioned to operate between past and future. That offers us contrast. But the truth is, if we really take a look at the past and future, those are mind constructs, because the past never happened. It always took place in the present. And the future never arrives. It always arrives in the present. So for a lot of people, and me personally, I was stuck between the past and future. So it was almost like a repeating cycle. I needed to know how to transcend that, how to go beyond that. And the doorway into the dimension of inner stillness, the ascension ladder, is this eternal moment of now. That's one of the main nuggets of insight I could offer you all.
But is it about tuning in to our own internal soul? I mean, the consciousness is such a term that is thrown around these days, much like any fashionable term. I'm very curious how we find it within ourselves if we don't even know where we're looking.
So a perfect little exercise I can offer is, if you become aware and just pay attention to the thoughts that arise. As the thoughts arise, and if you're aware of the present, you will begin to have pauses between those thoughts, sort of like a little break in between. That pause, that nothingness, is stillness. Now, one can get to a point where you experience, for example, let's say 80% of the time, thinking mind, a complete reversal, where you're 80% of the time, the mind is silent, and you now experience the occasional thought, but you are no longer attached to it, and it no longer dictates. So you've now connected with intelligence, the intelligence that's already within you, that is source energy, and it's from there clarity is allowed to unfold, and that's through an activated third eye. So when the mind is quieted, awareness is allowed to come to the forefront of our consciousness. That is universal consciousness, and that's where you start getting insights, intuition, psychic abilities. You see things that most can't see. You hear and sense things that most can't see, and that potential is in absolutely all of us. Awareness is key.
Do you ground yourself before going into anything consciousness?
The way I describe it is, I live moment by moment in that frequency, in that stillness. I will say this though, I just did a workshop a few days ago in Niagara Falls, and as I'm beginning to speak, the vibrational frequency gets so profound. I'm joking, but I literally felt like I was going to come out of the body. So I just had to ground myself mentally, into that moment, to be centered and not get carried away, because it is quite powerful, that energy.
It is very, very powerful energy when you're going through it, and when you finally tap in, it's actually quite easy to get there. Whether it's through meditation, whether it's through concentration and just grounding yourself, through relaxation, whether it's through anything. Is there an experience you haven't had yet that you are trying to manifest for yourself?
Um, I would say the only thing I would say is, and I'm not even trying to do it, but I'm ready, to make contact with these beings, or whatever it is, or even with this triangle that has reappeared over and over. I would love an up close look at it, but I'm getting quite a bit of insight on what it's about and the intelligence behind it and how I'm connected to it. But I know that. Let's put it this way: when I first made that shift in consciousness, I said a lot, during my workshops. Enlightenment is only the beginning. There are no limits to what you can become aware of.
And I agree with you that there are no limits on that realm, or anything along those lines. I'm curious for you though, as you continue to expand your horizons, you're kind of starting to make contact with ethereal beings. You've had contact with the other spiritual side. How are you handling this all, and how are the people around you handling this all?
My family is pretty amazed at what's been going on, and especially my one brother-in-law, Gabe. He's been with me on some of these outings where we're calling out these spontaneous flashes of light, and they're responding. My younger sister wishes she could be there. It hasn't happened with her yet, being outside with me. But they realize. I mean, I've been writing and speaking on spirituality, consciousness, the quantum field since 2005. So they have a good understanding of where I'm coming from, and I think this almost seemed to them like a natural progression. Like, he's experienced so much, especially with the paranormal, that it's just another unfolding of consciousness, another experience.
Have you ever had the paranormal side and the extraterrestrial side that you're trying to communicate actually overlap? Are you noticing your experiences starting to come together as one, like they're sewn together with an invisible string?
That hasn't happened yet. I can reflect on, the last paranormal experience I had was about a year or so ago, and I was wrapping up this book, and it took place in a farmhouse. I went to go look at a house that was for sale, and because of all these regulations that were going on, the agent said, "I'll meet you in the backyard. Just go ahead and take your time throughout the house." So I went in, and it felt pretty neutral. Took a hard left, went into the family room. Right behind there was a master. When I walked in there, I was hit with the overwhelming feeling of fear, anger, and the word I describe it as death. When I turned the lights on, I realized there were two big lights. It was still dark in that room. So I tried to ignore it because I really liked this house. It was a cute little farmhouse. Went and, checked the receptacles, went to the backyard, and she was back there. And I said to her, "I'm being led to go back to that room. I want to go check it out again." When I walked back into that room, the energy was even heavier. And the thought that came to me was, forget about staying here a night. I couldn't stay here another 5 minutes. That's how heavy it was. So she was still waiting for me in the hallway. For some reason, she wouldn't come anywhere near that room. So I called out and I said, "Did someone die in this house? Did someone die in this room?" I met her in the hallway and she had a V-neck on. her neck was red as a pepper. And she said, I'm actually selling the house for my best friends. Both parents died in that room weeks apart from cancer.
No way.
So that, you know, as in tune and as aware I am, that still was a wonderful reminder. Number one, to honor those feelings you get, and it just astounded me that I was able to pick that up, regardless of what I've already experienced. So they've been separate. The experiences so far has still been separate.
I get that. I can very much appreciate what you're saying there. As you've delved into your own consciousness and into your own divine being that we all are individually, what have you learned about life itself?
I've learned the biggest lesson that has come through is to trust, because you can't have anxiety if you are deeply and profoundly in that space of trusting the process, cultivating faith on the fly. Anxiety cannot exist in that vibrational frequency. So going through all those years of anxiety, not understanding why I was suffering, now I look back, I see the perfection in it, because had I not, it would have not created a burning desire for me to shift. And then, going through the cancer diagnosis, it wasn't so much, I wanted to know why this was happening. I remember saying to my sister when I was going through radiation, someone better have answers for me when I get up there, because I want to know why this is happening. And now I realize why all of this was necessary, all that heat, that pressure to make that shift. So my message would be, cultivate faith and trust to the point where it's unshakable. And because we are such powerful creative beings, we need to remember circumstances mean nothing except for the meaning that we give them. If we react to the outer world, we're now allowing that to come into our vibrational frequency and affect us. When you are centered and self-actualizing and you know who you are relative to source energy, you are now impacting the outer world through your inner stillness, through your centeredness. So it's a total reversal from reactive to observing, shifting from reacting to the world to observing it, being the witness.
I can totally understand where you're going with that. Are you viewing yourself from in body or out of body?
I experience both. So the awareness is simply you have a body, but you're actually beyond it. So the body is, and it's not to dishonor it. You actually honor it, because the body is a tool to know who you are. It offers that relativity. But I experience both, being beyond it, transcended of it, as well as, being here and now.
Being in the here and now is very hard for a lot of people, including myself. I struggle with it daily because I think life is moving so fast and there's so much thrown at us on a daily basis, whether it's media, whether it's, finances, whether it's life in general. How do we slow down to catch our breath, to tune into ourselves when life shows us so much at once?
I would say, if you really want to, first of all, less is more. So you don't have to spend hours trying to meditate. I would say take 15 or 20 minutes a day, find a quiet space, tune everything out, okay? And whether it's a plant or the nothingness around you, I want you to just focus on that and become aware. For example, if you're looking at that plant, become aware of the stillness or the nothingness surrounding it. All of life is a mirror. And the minute you become aware of something, you allow it to be reflected back to you. So that is a nice way to begin to quiet the thinking mind and just sort of let go. And you would be amazed at what even 15 or 20 minutes can do if someone begins to do that on a daily basis. You don't need to spend hours on hours. There's no pilgrimage needed to journey. Everything you need is already within you. We're already whole and complete. Your enlightenment is actually unbecoming everything you've collected as a human being. And what I'm realizing now is we are actually more than human beings. We're cosmic beings. We are spiritual beings. And there is so much more to us than we can imagine.
Very true. We got about 3.5 minutes before we have to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Julio Consiglio is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Julio, for a lot of people, in myself included, we second guess ourselves when it comes to our own spirituality. We think that if we are getting any sort of communication, it's just our imagination. It's not really happening. We can't even prove it to ourselves. I mean, maybe this goes into channeling or any type of psychic connection, but how do we know it's not our imagination and it's actually spirit that is speaking to us?
That's a great question. I would say spontaneity. So, the soul, when you're tuned into your soul, you experience spontaneous hits, spontaneous insights. You're not trying to do anything, you're not looking to do anything. Because, for example, if you're looking for enlightenment, you're going to put yourself in that vibrational frequency of looking, and you're going to keep looking. If you surrender to the moment, if you surrender to life, if you simply allow things to spontaneously happen, that's how you know. That's how you know, because there's no trying. Whether it's been, for example, in my life, the paranormal stuff, I've never once gone looking for it. It's just happened. With these sightings, didn't go looking for it. They spontaneously happen. So you're not trying anything, and that's how you know. It's that spontaneity, because the soul, boy, when you live through the soul, you are spontaneous. Let's put it that way. And having things outside of spirituality, I love listening to AC/DC. I listen to Def Leppard. I listen to everything. Though what you do does not impact what you are. It's your beingness that's more important. Source cares what we're being. What we're doing, as long as you're not hurting anyone, like I said, rock and roll, AC/DC, that doesn't change my frequency. My mind is clear as I listen to it, but it's something I still enjoy.
Okay. The fact that you're still able to enjoy what you want, and separate the spiritualism. So we got about 90 seconds left. Do you then recommend to people that they use what they're comfortable with in order to try and calm their mind down, whether it's AC/DC, whether it's Guns N' Roses, or whether it's, some sort of spiritual healing music off of YouTube?
I was actually writing about this 2 days ago. So, yeah, doing something that you love to do, whether it's going for a long drive, listening to your favorite music. Most people do not even realize when you're doing that and you're loving it and you're enjoying the moment, most people don't realize you're actually in a transcendent state. You feel so good, but most people don't pay attention or recognize the stillness that is bubbling to the surface. That's your inner being. So I say go for it. Enjoy yourself. Go for those walks in the forest or whatever it is you love doing, because sometimes it's the doingness that can lead to beingness. So it's all a reflection.
Very true. I'm going to get you to hold on right there as we have author Julio Consiglio for one more segment, about 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. We're continuing the talk of consciousness, contact. How do we open ourselves out? How do we align our Zen and Chi so our chakras are shining brightly? Yes, shining brightly. Bumblefoot does it for me. I'm not going to lie. You can go to Julio's website, JULIOConsiglio.com, to find his books. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Stay tuned. We're clear.
It is just flying by.
Dude, this has been an awesome night.
It's been
Awesome
amazing.
night.
It's been amazing.
We're having a lot of fun here, man.
We are. I'm looking at the comments. Some great comments.
Zeta Pomp, you naughty, naughty girl, asking Travis Walton to do that. Naughty. Terrible. Teasing. Mm-hmm. I got to get caught up in the chat here.
There's a lot. It's wonderful.
Oh, yeah. We got a good crowd tonight.
Wow.
That's we got a very good crowd tonight. Travis DeLuca, how you doing, buddy? When we get to the next break on the radio side of everything, when I say goodnight to you on air, just hold off till we get to the commercial break, and then I'll say a proper goodnight to you, dude.
Perfect.
But I really do think you and I need to swap some stories, because I think there's a lot that is extremely similar.
I would love to hear it, because this has been 2 years, and the way it is, the sightings have just intensified. They're more frequent, and it's quite. I mean, there's sometimes I'm on the phone with my brother-in-law as some of these are happening, and it leaves you speechless. It's pretty profound. I actually said to my brother-in-law, I spoke to him about 10 p.m. here. I said, I'm so looking forward to this. I said, doing this interview late at night, it gave you something to look forward to. And I'm a night owl anyways. If I have slept, Dave, for 3 hours for the past 15 years, that may be even going more. And I don't get tired. I'm not tired. So I operate on very little sleep. I wish I could sleep more, but
I went through a stretch where I was literally studying every night, trying to find some inkling on Google or mainly Google or YouTube, trying to find somebody who had the exact same experiences that I had. There were some that were similar, but they were always off 1 or 2 points that I just could not say it was the same thing. And it drove me absolutely batty. It really did. It drove me like I was on 3 to 5 hours sleep a night.
wow.
I would crawl into bed. I would bring my laptop in, and I had one of those laptop pillows so my legs wouldn't get hot from the heat coming off of it. And I would literally sit up until 2, 3, 4 in the morning, sometimes 5, when I had to be up at 7.
Wow.
To get my kids ready for school.
Wow.
And it's amazing how this takes over your life. And, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, not at all, but it really can dictate what you're doing on an everyday basis.
I can understand what you're saying, and I've made a point, when I'm not, if I'm not in the backyard experiencing it, for example, with the guys, I'm centered, or I'm just whatever else is I'm doing, whether I'm writing, reading a book, watching TV, I'm letting it go, because I understand how it can want to try, right, to take over in one sense. And that's again, the thinking mind trying to latch onto that. Oh, look. And then it creates more distraction as well. So
yes, it does.
I'm very aware. And, when I'm writing, I'm only writing. I talk about this in Open Your Third Eye. If you're washing dishes, I'm only washing dishes and just that. If I'm doing laundry, I'm there doing laundry. So I understand it. It's a balance because, there are things you have to do in the
Yep.
future, but it's a balancing act. I understand.
I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We're going to come back in 10 seconds. Thank you to Patrick and Cleopatra for the awesome super chats tonight. Very much appreciate it. Thank you to all the veterans out there. Here we go. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate all of you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. And we want to remind you that all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including Rockin' Out Bumblefoot, reading Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. For the final time tonight, author Julio Consiglio is here with us from the beautiful province of Ontario. We are happy to know he is not a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. That's why we're giving him the full 2 hours tonight. So we appreciate that. And his website, JIULIOConsiglio.com, where you can go buy his books, including his latest one, Open Your Third Eye, Activate Your Sixth Chakra, and Develop Your Psychic Abilities. I want to ask you, Julio, as we continue on here, why would someone want to open up their abilities?
The reason you'd want to open up your abilities is your psychic abilities and expanded awareness go hand in hand. So if you're operating through your intuition, if you're operating through greater discernment, you're going to make better choices. You're going to be more empowered. You're going to operate from a spirit of fearlessness rather than fear. So there is so much that comes with living through spirit and the gifts that are found. There's no separation between psychic abilities and spirituality. Psychic abilities are a reflection of your spirituality. And I'm going to give everyone a nugget right now. Your psychic abilities have a consciousness of their own. And like source energy, just as we are expressions of source energy, you too are a creator and want to express. We feel that pent-up energy, that anxiety, that heaviness when we are not expressing ourselves. And those psychic abilities, those are extensions of us. They have their own consciousness. They want to be released.
How do we know who to communicate with? That, we may want to have a final conversation with our grandmother or our mom and dad or whomever. How do we know it's not some trickster type spirit that is coming through to ruin the day?
The answer to that is actually quite simple. You're going to read the energy around it. So if it's high vibrating, and it typically is even higher vibrating than what a person would normally operate through. So a higher vibrating frequency. Is there that feeling of unconditional love behind it? That's how you know. Anything that comes in dark, anything that is sort of low vibrating, you're aligning with or connecting with a shadow or some sort of darker entity. I say this all the time. As beautiful as this world is, it's also a spiritual landfill in the sense that when a person passes, we leave behind two of the densest parts of us, the physical body and the egoic self. So that is for example, the shadow people I'm talking about. So, if you're not aware, you can connect with them. So you want to come from a space of fearlessness and just pay attention to the energy. Is it unconditional love coming through or is it fear?
Never looked at it that way. How often are you channeling?
In terms of writing right now with this book, I'm channeling the collective that has been showing up here for the past 2 years. When it comes to spirituality, it's not channeling in the sense is I'm connected with that universal consciousness. I'm just one with it. So I'm just allowing the highest self to write through me in that sense. It's coming from oneness.
Who is your collective?
The collective is that the energetic entities or beings, these ETs that are behind these experiences we've been having for 2 years. In my writing, I actually posed a question to them, do you have a name? And what they said was, at our vibrational frequency, at our level of awareness, everything happens through telepathy. Names essentially aren't necessary. They said, if you need a name, we'll give you one. And I said, no, I don't. So I just refer to them as the collective.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes it easier that way, doesn't it?
I actually like it. I'm very much to the point with things like that. So yeah, it makes it a lot easier.
For you, as you continue to gain on your own spirituality and the path that you are on, at what point will you know that you've reached your pinnacle?
The truth is I don't think there is. So once you reach one level of awareness, there's like 1,000 rooms ahead of you. So even after I made that initial shift and activated the third eye and stepped into the quantum field, who I was even 15 years ago, the expansion and the awareness and the insights that have taken place, there's almost no comparison. So, the unfolding of consciousness, there are no limits.
Even when it comes to things like reincarnation?
When I look at reincarnation, I see it from the viewpoint that past lives, future lives, they're all happening now. And that's the miracle and the mystery of life. So reincarnation, I love that word in one sense because it gives us relativity. We're using words to describe formlessness and a miracle that is really hard to describe. So the truth, or what I gather, the insight that I get from consciousness is all of them are happening now. And we can actually tap into those other lives. And when you're able to do that, you're literally tapping into the genius that is already within us. You're able to access insights that you normally wouldn't have.
Julio Consiglio, our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Question coming from Natalie in the UK. Good morning to you, Natalie, and thank you for listening in. Are shadow people just remote viewers?
The shadow people are so I mentioned, so when a person passes, we release or let go of the physical body, we leave that behind, and we leave behind that shadow egoic self. So what happens is where a person passes is usually where that shadow egoic self is left. And these entities, these egoic selves, they form attachments because they form attachments when we're here on earth operating with ego. We have attachments. So where the soul goes, when a person passes, the ego can't go. It's too high vibrating. So those shadows remain here. They're not remote viewers. They are the personality left behind of that person. So they can form attachments. I've seen them. I experienced them in that farmhouse where those two people passed in that room. So that's what my insights in consciousness tells me.
I semi agree with you there, but I think you're missing out on the remote view part. And I say that with all due respect. I was talking to someone who has affiliation with government projects in the United States, who actually asked that same question. And studies into remote viewing actually show that sometimes remote viewers look like shadows hiding in corners.
I could see that being possible, completely possible.
Let us move to another question. Acryong here. Can you give any practical advice to regulate the heart chakra and the so-called feelings? What is it?
So, with the heart chakra, you want to cultivate compassion. You want to cultivate unconditional love towards yourself. Because if you can love yourself unconditionally, and that usually starts with forgiveness, that's, if a lot of us can come into that space where we release ourselves of the past, we would let go so much energy that is built up. When I made that shift, it felt like a ton of bricks came off me. So the heart chakra, if you want to expand it, be charitable, forgive yourself, forgive others, and just operate through unconditional love, just going beyond judgment.
Good friend of this show, D.A. Roberts. He's a guest. He's a author and a cryptid hunter as well. He is asking, does past life regression really work?
I feel it does work, and it does give us insight, but on the other hand, what I'll say is, what impact would that have on the life we're living now? So what I would say is, if you want insight, because sometimes there's that feeling we carry things that haven't been dealt with in a past life. So if we find we're maybe repeating cycles, you may want to look at that now in what you're doing now. But healing, I have heard some pretty tremendous healing coming from past life regression.
All right, let's go to Lara here. Would you agree that some shadow beings are also sentient beings, dimensional or others?
That is a possibility. My experience with them has been, because of my awareness. When I become aware of them and they realize I'm not reacting to them, because they love attachment. So if you're reacting to them, they love to cling to that. That usually sends them packing. Is it possible that they are sentient beings or other dimensional? Part of that is a possibility as well.
All right, let's go to Acryong again. Are there any spells you can recommend? What spell do you find useful and like the most?
So in terms of spell or spelling, words are powerful. So if you're going to manifest or you want to start making shifts in your life, the words I am and what follows is quite powerful. And because when I say I am, it is I am now, not I will be. So I am healed. I am strong. I am released. So when you're saying words like that, and what it is that you're trying to place in terms of intention, you want to say it with a knowingness and with a real faith behind it. So the I am and then what follows, quite powerful.
All right, let's continue on here as we have a question from Davey. Do we really have spirit guides?
Absolutely. And I've had some pretty tremendous experiences with them. And sometimes they will give you a nudge, and sometimes it will be red flags in front of you. So we absolutely do. If you want to get quiet and even go inward and ask them to reveal their name or names, you may be surprised at what comes. So, yes, we are guided. Absolutely.
Sounds good. Let's get to another question from DA. When you experience sleep paralysis, are those shadow people that you see, or is it something else?
Well, that evening with that night terror, there was some initial sleep paralysis in the sense, and it was related to what I was seeing. So I had several years back an experience with a shadow being at the foot of my bed at 15, 16. My brother woke me up. I knew I was awake because he was working as a correctional officer, and there was one at the foot of the bed, and I couldn't move for about 10 seconds. I kept trying to call out my sister's name, and I broke it, but that's definitely connected to the shadow beings. Yes.
Do you feel that shadow beings are all dark and dangerous, or do you feel there is some of the light as well?
All I can speak is what I've experienced, and the ones that I've experienced have been dark. So, one seemed curious as I was coming around a corner, and it was Christmas time, and it was actually looking at a really bright Christmas tree in a window. But from what I've experienced, they form attachments, and they could be somewhat tricksters. I haven't experienced one that is high vibrating.
Very interesting. Very interesting as we continue on here. And yeah, Science Bob says, "Can I get the spirits to help me with a Nobel Prize idea?" Science Bob, we have that idea. We have that idea, man. He's our resident scientist here. So, by the way, Science Bob, what are you doing awake at this hour? You're never awake. Go ahead.
Tell Science Bob I'll say a prayer for him. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, Science Bob's good people. Very, very good and brilliant people. He is a definite mentor of mine.
Great question.
And yeah, actually, him and I, about a year and a half ago, we had a situation where we were having a pretty in-depth UFO conversation. And him and I both picked up on remote viewers, one at his house and one at mine, listening into our conversation.
That's incredible.
It was kind of cool.
That's incredible. That's trippy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very freaky. We've had a couple of weird experiences. Couple of weird ones. We got about 7 minutes left with you tonight, Julio. I'm just having way too much fun with you, man.
It's been
way
a
too
blast.
much fun. For people who may not understand what the chakras are, give us a breakdown.
So the chakras are energy wheels that are found within the subtle body. So you have your soul, and then you have a subtle body that connects the soul to the physical body. So these energy wheels start at the at the root, or just below the groin area, and travel upward. And every chakra relates to a certain area and certain emotions within you. So, for example, the third eye, for example, when that chakra is activated, that is the seat of clarity. And that then opens the door to the chakra above it, universal consciousness. And then at the bottom, you have, the root chakra, which, if we're grounded, we feel stable in our lives and we feel safe and secure. If we feel uneasy and uncertain, then that chakra needs balancing, and it's essentially releasing whatever fear is letting you feel uncertain and on shaky ground or unstable, and then replacing that belief with, I am grounded, I am safe, I am centered, I am strong.
Makes sense. Let's get to another question from Lara here, who is asking, JC, do you do any remote healing such as Reiki?
I have done remote healing, and I did one for a med student. The mother was frantic, contacted me for a few days straight. It was Thanksgiving weekend, actually, and I told her that I would be doing an intention for her daughter, and in my mind I visited her daughter in her dream. Anyways, she was able to go back to school. She was out of school for like 3 weeks. So the power of the mind and intention, and tuning into the quantum field, that is something that we could all do. But yes, I have done it.
A lot of people may not understand how you can send energy remotely and how it works. So if you were to, say, choose somebody from our audience, let's say they're having back pain, how would you be able to tune into that?
So if I was focusing on the individual, I would focus on their energetic body, because that's what we're made up of, is energy. And whether it's blue light or just the energy coming off my palm, like even as you place it out, if you put your other hand in front of it, you'll begin to feel energy coming out of it, because there's chakras everywhere. So envisioning your hand, for example, penetrating into the back of that person, and just seeing that redness or heat disperse in real time, that is how you impact. And it's because we're all connected through that quantum field. So we're all connected through that. And it's just placing that intention, letting the individual know what you're doing. And that's how you get results.
Okay. So with the results that come in, are they always going to be of a positive variety, or are you going to pick up on that negative energy that that person is carrying?
That, yeah, exactly. So some people, they may have that desire to move forward, but they're still holding on to something. So if someone is not wanting to, on a subconscious level, to let something go, it can become a little bit more tricky or difficult. So it's having them realize what it is they're hanging on to, and then that's when spontaneous healing happens. And that was in my own case when I had that spontaneous healing happen after my cancer treatment.
Yeah. I recommend anybody who has never got Reiki before to actually try it. It feels great, and it puts you to sleep really, really deep shortly after. Tires me right out.
It is, and it's all energetic. It's essentially, you're working with the person's energetic field.
Very true. Very true. But how do you pick up on that energetic field? Let's say you're 1,000 miles away, 500 miles away, hey, 10 miles away.
It's
What do you see?
literally it's literally putting your attention to the person. So when you do that and your mind is clear, the information speaks to you. So you're just picking up on the energy surrounding them, and you'd be amazed at what you can pick up when the mind is clear and you're centered. Uh, what stillness says to you.
Okay. So you basically have to clear your mind in order to f- tune in.
That's exactly it. So it's just letting go of any sort of pretense, letting go of and allowing the spontaneity of your soul. You're essentially surrendering. So it's a surrendered state. And when you're in that not trying state, that's when things begin to happen.
We've got about 90 seconds with you left tonight. This is a show that has really flown on by. And I'll tell you, for the first time having you on, Julio, this is something that I definitely am going to be telling our team that we got to bring you back again on this show. So thank you so much for an amazing night. Do us a favor, if you don't mind. Let our audience know where they can find your books and any social media that you may have.
Sure. So my books, Challenge Your Thoughts, The Healing Frequency, and my latest, Open Your Third Eye, is available through Amazon. It's at select bookstores. There's also links on my website, julioconsiglio.com. My social media handle is Julio Consiglio, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, JIULIO
Awesome. Awesome. And I hope you had a good time with us tonight here with our listeners as well, because they're pretty in tune, they're pretty informative, and they're a handful in a good way. They very much are a handful in a good way, and we love them around here. And we're glad you had a good time with us tonight, my friend.
I absolutely loved it, Dave. You were a pleasure. This has been my most favorite interview thus far. The longest. It flew by. It felt like I've known you for a long time. So it was absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
It's a Canadian thing.
I
Let's
think
just
that's
be
what
honest.
it is. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, we're going to take credit for that.
Pretty
We're
much.
we're totally going to take credit for that. And I
Thank you.
appreciate you too. So thank you so much, Julio, for coming on Spaced Out Radio. Coming up next in hour number 3, we're going to start off the hour with another amazing story from our man from the swamp dweller. Then Bigfoot Michigan Rob is going to be here with a lot of Bigfoot stories and chatter. Shirky Poo's got the news. We got a great final hour left for you tonight. We're clear, man. Great show.
You are amazing. That was amazing. Thank you so
That was
much,
fun.
Dave. I'm
That
very
was fun.
grateful. Yeah, that was awesome.
We got to talk off the air.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it would be fantastic because I like I said, I'm still pretty blown away that a lot of your experiences are very, very eerily similar to mine.
I want to hear some of yours, and if I get a chance, I'm going to send you some. Even I have one image, September 24th, 2021. The sun was setting, and there was an upside down V-shaped cloud, and the damn thing was casting a shadow in the sky. How is that possible? The sky is the sky. There's no density to it. And I sent it to a friend of mine, Wendy Garrett, out in the States. She goes, I sent it to John Foster, who's a UFO author. He didn't know what the hell it was. So it's some pretty incredible experiences. And I want to hear yours as well, because like I said, this has only been happening 2 years.
Oh, we'll get you in touch with the right people. Science
Awesome.
Bob would be a good one for that.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah, Science Bob would be great for that.
Ooh,
And he'll be like, hell yeah, I am. Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love it.
All right, buddy. I will let you go, and we'll talk. I can't talk this week. I'm a little busy getting ready for San Francisco.
I know. You let me know when.
Yep, we'll do it soon.
Awesome, man.
Take care, bud.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
Take care. See ya.
See you later. Julio Consiglio, everyone. What a great show. Fantastic show tonight. Hello, the gorgeous Jessica S. Welcome. Anybody pick a color of Bigfoot Rob's bandana tonight? Let's see if we can pick the color before we bring him on in. You got 1 minute. Do 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 do. All right, here's the colors we got. We got pink, red, blue, another blue, black, magenta, yellow, purple, pink, yellow, pink, black, black and white, black or white, gray, purple, and it is teal. Teal is the color.
Those are some great guesses.
Oh, yeah. How you doing, bud?
Teal it is. Hey, I'm doing great. How's it going, Dave?
I am great, man. Had a fun time tonight. That was fantastic.
You know, I did get a chance to listen in. I can relate to a lot of those things. In fact, I had some questions. I've experienced a lot of things that maybe a little later in the show I can talk about. But man, that was fantastic. Fantastic guest.
How's your cousin?
Good. Thank you for asking. You know, it's kind of a personal thing, so I'm not going to get into it on the air. But right now, very good. Yes, thank you.
Good. You look good in the old teal there, Bigfoot Rob.
Yeah, I just got these from a place called Bandana Stretchers. Bandana Stretchers. I found them on Amazon. I got a pack of 24 for $11.
Nice.
Yeah, so I have to keep up with the image, you know. Well, we got marketing going on, and it was time. It was time for a change, my friend.
Yeah, fantastic. When do you guys have you guys made an official announcement?
Actually, we are official. It wasn't. We can make an official announcement on the radio station or on your station on SOR if you like. But yes, it's official.
Beautiful.
We're going with Odyssey.
Let's wait until we're on air. Let's wait until we're on air.
Okay, that's cool because very good.
Yeah.
So so we're off air, right? So I was able. I mean, I'll bring it up when we
Well,
go on.
remember the people can hear us.
Yeah, so I came up with some. Well, just to let you know, I did come up with a couple interesting things for the Cryptid Report. So like I say, it was kind of last minute, so I had to dig some things up, but I'm sure it'll be very successful.
Mm-hmm. I've got South Park socks on right now, Shelly. And there is no purple on them. No purple. No purple.
I almost sported the purple bandana.
Well, that's how
People
you
are
roll.
all over it. Hey, that's how I roll.
That's how you roll. You're hey, if there's a bandana out there to be worn, you're gonna wear it. Have you got your Vegas bandanas picked out yet?
I got 6 of them already. They're ready, sitting in the packaging. Yeah, they're packaged
Nice.
up. I haven't even opened them.
Yeah. All right, we got 10 seconds left here. Thank you to Thomas, Liliopatra, and Patrick for the amazing super chats. Here we go with the third hour, everyone.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Sajin. Sajin is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. It is time, once again, where we head off into the swamp. Our resident swamp dweller has another amazing spooky encounter.
Hi, Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is Swamp Dweller. It's time for your nightly dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp. The logging company I work for is tasked with clearing a large land for a housing development. While walking the ground, I spot several hickory trees grouped together. I note the location as I plan on taking them for myself over the weekend while everyone else is at home, resting for the previous work week. Some barbecue places in my area will pay good money for a load of hickory. That Saturday, I load my chainsaws and busting mauls in the bed of my truck and head toward the job site. At the entrance, a group of people gathers, protesting the clearing of the land. Save the animals' natural habitat or something. Save the animals' natural habitat or something like that. Those animals don't help me pay the bills, and until they do, I'm clearing it out. The protesters block the entrance. I slowly pull up, roll down my window, and politely ask them to move. The protesters stand firm. I push down on the gas pedal for a moment, giving one of them a bump with the front of my truck. I continued to do this until they finally decided to move out of my way. I creep into the entrance, continuing to push protesters aside with my truck. The last protester screamed in my window, "These trees give us oxygen and provide habitat for thousands of animals. "Screw the animals," I said as I spit in her face, quickly driving away before any retaliation could take place. It doesn't take long to find the hickories as I remember their exact location. 10 hickories in all. It's hard work cutting them, busting them up into manageable pieces, loading the truck down, and making several trips from barbecue restaurants to this location. I dread dealing with the rude protesters every trip, but the extra money would be worth it. I downed the first 3 trees no problem. This old saw I had restored was cutting through the wood like butter. I was ready to lay down the 4th hickory when I got distracted by movement in my peripheral vision. During this distraction, the saw kicks back, almost tearing into my leg. I dropped the saw. I looked down to see a rip in my jeans where I saw the blade caught it. That was too close, I say aloud, my heart racing from the close call. I spin around, ready to scream out profanities and belittle the little jackass protester that distracted me and almost led to the destruction of my leg. To my surprise, no protester was in sight, only a giant buck. Its rack was huge, 14-pointer at least. I'm an avid hunter and I don't think I've ever even seen one this big. If only I had my rifle handy. I'd have a nice head to mount on my wall, and some nice meat for the freezer. Then something unexpected happened. The buck's eyes started to glow red. I investigate them, almost hypnotized by the red glow. I was in such a trance, I didn't hear the snap and pop of the now falling tree behind me. The tree glanced off my shoulder and into the side of my knee, collapsing me to the ground. The massive tree was still on top of my leg, pinning me to the ground. I let out a scream that I thought for sure one of the protesters would be able to hear. But after laying on the ground for several minutes in pure agony, it became clear they had not heard me. I began to assess the damage. My jeans were beginning to turn red from the blood. I stick my fingers into the rip previously caused by the chainsaw and rip the jeans. I continue to tear away at the fabric until only the seam connects the lower part of my jeans to the upper part. I roll the jeans up as tightly as possible, the flesh tender to the touch. I get the jeans just above the knee, and I can now see the bone protruding from my skin just below the knee. I get a slightly light head and must turn my head away, the sight of blood and bone sending a sickening feeling through my stomach. I must try hard not to vomit or pass out. I try yelling again. I scream until my voice is hoarse, but no one can seemingly hear me. No one is coming. I can't lay here for 2 more days, pinned under this tree, waiting for my friends and coworkers to come. I must do something. I plant my free foot on the massive hickory and began to push. The tree trunk starts to rock back and forth with each thrust of my leg. I try this repeatedly for what feels like hours, but I don't have the strength to push it off. I finally give up out of exhaustion. Days turn to night, and I begin to give up hope. I lay on my back staring up at the stars. This would be peaceful if not for the throbbing pain in my lower leg. Finally, I pass out. I'm not sure if it was from exhaustion or blood loss, but I welcomed it. I woke up to a sharp pain shooting up my leg. I sit up to find myself surrounded by a pack of coyotes. One gnawed at my exposed bone while another lapped up fresh blood now pouring from my wound, nipping at my crusted over scabs like I had not eaten in months. A pop sends a shockwave of pain through me as one of the coyotes sinks its teeth through my hard exterior of my bone. A swift kick to the head of one of them sent a few of them in retreat, but they continued to hover around, licking the blood from the fur around their mouths, waiting for me to slip back into unconsciousness so they could finish their meal. Not tonight, assholes. I'm not giving up that easy. The rest of the night was spent trying to roll the massive tree off my leg until I gave out. I would rest for a while and try again, all while keeping the coyotes at bay. Just before sunlight, I heard massive footsteps in the distance that sent the coyotes into a panicked run as they disappeared into the forest. Help! Please help! I try to yell, trying to get the attention of whatever was causing the footsteps. That's when the buck from before appears from behind the trees and walks directly up to me. The buck is standing over me, peering down at me with those glaring red eyes. You did this to me, didn't you? The buck lets out a snort in response to my question. What's next? The buck turned its eyes to the sky as 5 vultures circled. I'm sorry, I don't want to die. Tears are streaming down my cheeks. I'll quit the logging business. I'll never cut down another tree if I live. Please help me. The buck tilts its head to the side as if it was contemplating whether I should live or die. It lets out another grunt. His eyes, red, begin to glow brighter. My light begins to fade as darkness overtakes me. I wake up several days later in the hospital, part of me hoping that it was only a nightmare, but the notion is ripped away at my absence of my leg, amputated from the knee down. After recovering, I went home and sold my chainsaws, busting mauls, axes. I even sold my wood-burning grill and got charcoal. I'm not sure where the local barbecue restaurants will get their wood now, but it sure as hell won't be from me.
Oh, wow. Another spooky story, courtesy of the Swamp Dweller. Go to youtube.com/Swamp Dweller Reads. I'll tell you, he's gaining like 1,000, 1,500 subscribers on his YouTube channel a week. I mean, his channel is going haywire right now. Haywire. We love it. All right. We got to stick with it, though. Bigfoot Michigan Rob is here. He's ready for the Cryptid Report. Very nice.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. I gotta, practice.
How you been doing?
I've been doing fantastic, Dave. Fantastic.
Wonderful. You guys over at Brunch with Bigfoot and Texas Front Porch have some exciting news.
Yes, Dave, we do, and thank you very much for that. It'll be starting in April, but it is official. We have to get everything kind of gelled together. We'll be with Odyssey Radio and live on iHeartRadio starting April 1st, I believe it is. We're in the process of getting scheduled and downloading files. So yes, Dave, Odyssey Radio live on iHeartRadio. And I do have to say thank you to Dave Scott for helping us get that completed. Again, our entire team thanks you, Dave, for that.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem. I was pretty excited about the offer of joining them as well and trying to bring over some other good podcasters and hosts to the digital network, Odyssey Radio at odysseyradio.com. Now, Odyssey is spelled Odysy. And they got a good team over there. And very excited to be a part of it and to grow with them. It's nice. We're going to be their nighttime flagship show. We've been on their network for about a week now, and we thank all the listeners over there for tuning us in. So it's kind of exciting times, man. Exciting times. Growth is good. Growth is very good.
Yeah, David, like I said, thanks for that. And our channel's starting to expand. We're adding more shows. We'll be on probably up to 5 times a night. Right now, 4 will be launched, and I'm really, really excited about it. And again, I appreciate your help in getting that, making that happen.
Absolutely, not a problem. Bigfoot Michigan Rob is here from breakfast or brunch. At least it's not breakfast for dinner with Bigfoot.
It's not breakfast with Bigfoot, right? Oh man, come on.
I'm telling you right now, breakfast for dinner Bigfoot does not exist.
Well, it's funny. It's funny too because we changed all our formatting, and we're marketing a little bit differently now. I used to say brunch with Bigfoot. Now it's brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob, as we have 4 different shows. But we could talk about that a little later. I did want to break into this. I want to let everybody know how much I dig Spaced Out Radio and Dave Scott. My cousin is in the hospital now. Everything's fine. we'll leave it at that. So spending some time. So my phone's going off in my pocket. And I'm in the hospital, so I can't really get reception. I don't know what's going on. I'm getting all sorts of alerts. So I'm like, now what in the world is going on now? So leave the hospital, get outside, and I look, and there's a bunch of text messages coming in. One's from Super Duke. I don't answer it because I see Dave Scott's name flashes on my phone. I answer the phone, and Dave goes, "Hey, man, what's up?" I go, well, I'm kind of at the hospital taking care of some business here with my cousins. My cousins, laid up. Dave's like, "Oh, man, I'm sorry." I'm like, "Yeah, that's okay." I said, "What's up?" "Well, can you come on for Super Duke?" "But I understand. I understand, Rob, if you can't." And so I'm like, Dave, man, I got to get home within an hour and a half. I got to put a show together, and I don't want to put out any garbage. I want it to be quality radio. Dave goes, "Yeah." Then Dave says to me, "Hey, man, we're professionals. We'll make it happen." And when he said that, I said, "We'll make it happen tonight."
Oh,
So
yeah.
tonight I put together something pretty nice.
Nice. What do you got for us, bud? We got about 8 minutes here before we go to break at the bottom of the hour.
Well, as I looked up some of these encounters or these reports, I found something that happened along train tracks, and I found that to be very interesting. Train tracks and Bigfoot sightings, right? 1975 in Monongahela, Pennsylvania, there was a group of hikers that were walking or hiking along the train tracks and seen from the wood line, some Bigfoots pop their heads out. Now, there was like 20 of these reports. I'm just going through a couple of brief ones just to give you an idea of something. Rock Creek, Ohio, hunters walking along an abandoned train tracks. Again, see a family of 5 Bigfoot, all black with blue eyes. They pop out. They disappear in the tree line, et cetera, et cetera. I got like 6-7 minutes, so I'm going to cut some of these. They're all around train tracks. Ionia, Michigan, another one happens. So what I'm putting together is a lot of Bigfoot, Dave. They're lineal, right? They're lineal in their nature, meaning they like to walk along power lines. They like to walk along pipelines, anything that's straight. So it makes sense that you might see them along train tracks. So, long story short, we get to 2002 in my state of Michigan. I call this homeless man versus homeless man. These are railroad tracks. They're along the Detroit River, along power lines in a commercial area. Now, this is like the ghetto of Detroit in 2010. A homeless man, human being, he happens to be out in the neighborhood, in the ghetto, and sees about 3 people hunched down going through a dumpster. Now, it's not your average dumpster like you'd see in back of a McDonald's or a, dare I say, Taco Bell.
Don't shame Taco Bell around here. Be careful with that one.
I said, dare I say a Taco Bell, right? I love Taco Bell.
I know.
At any rate, so these are commercial dumpsters where if you had a home that was abandoned, or if you're doing remodeling, you tear out the basement. So they're long dumpsters. Sees about 3 guys on their hands and knees rummaging about. The homeless man's kind of hungry. And again, when I say homeless man, this is coming from the report. And I'm not suggesting that he was out of wits or anything, because the report did come in from him. And so he's observing these 3 dirty, long-haired, filthy people, much like himself, hunkered down, going through all this garbage. So he figures he's going to let them do the work, right? Then he was going to come up, play his slick game, and try to weasel in and get some of the food or whatever they're doing. So as he approaches closer to the dumpster area, he makes note of these are like, they're not like him. Their appearance is quite different. Then one stood up, had to been 9 foot, 10 foot tall, covered in hair, covered in dirt, covered in garbage and smut. Worse than the homeless human man. Says, that ain't no human being. He tried to skedaddle out of there, but he just kind of, there's something about, he had to take a look back. Looks back, all three are just standing there, 9 foot tall, dirty, rank, covered in garbage, and he took off. This report is from a reputable source that I use all the time for a lot of the shows in the state of Michigan. And, when you hear something like that, Dave, it makes you think that, kind of, you remember the wild man back of centuries ago? I mean, a lot of people mistook the wild man, Native American, as a Bigfoot, when in fact it was just a human being. Now, this guy out in this homeless person probably looked like a wild man, figured these Bigfoot, before he knew they were Bigfoot, were like him until they got up, stood up, showed their mass, showed their girth, and scared them. So, and that happened right here in my hometown. Well, I don't live in Detroit, but in a suburb, and the area is like an hour from me. So I thought that was neat. I thought it was cool to share. Again, you never know what's out there, man.
You really don't know. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, this is a person who literally has to fight every day for just morsels of food. Morsels of food. And he comes around, sees these, whatever they are,
right,
filthy human beings, which didn't happen to be filthy human beings.
Yeah.
Going into, where he was or where he normally feeds. I mean, and then when they stand up, holy cow, that's a shocking reality that someone doesn't expect.
They don't. You often hear about these people that see a tree stump. They think it's a tree stump along the tree line. And they're, sitting there just minding their own business. Then the tree stump moves. Then not only does it move, it grows, it stands up, and it turns into a tree, when that tree is in fact actually some sort of being, right? I assume it's Bigfoot, right? We don't really know. Again, I don't claim anything to be a Bigfoot or any other cryptid. But let's face it, this is what we do, right? This is what we're into, so that's what you associate it with. But yeah, it's but to think that it's right here along the Detroit River, in a once populated area. You hear so many stories. I can't put together Bigfoot living in a ghetto versus I see him in the forest, right? I don't see him in Detroit, albeit along a waterway, a trail, railroad track where you could get to the woods. But it's just, man, the more you know about these creatures or the subject, the less you know. I mean, every day I get perplexed because, as you know, Dave, I talk to a lot of people every day, and every day I'm not surprised at all what I hear.
Some of the stories are so science fiction, to keep it polite, Rob. It's very hard to draw the line between what's real and what isn't. And this, that's a perfect example of why I'm not a researcher, man. Perfect example, because I don't know what is real anymore with some of this. And let's discuss that. Let's discuss that when we come back, as we will continue with the Cryptid Report with Bigfoot Michigan Rob here on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to give the Magic 8 Ball another week off. It's been acting strange lately. We got to get it cleaned up. It's not ready to go. I'm not feeling it. Bigfoot Rob is here. We got you covered. Shirky Poo's got the news. We got you covered. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. All right, we're clear.
Very good.
That's good stuff, Rob.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I just came up with it briefly, typically I would try to do a little more digging, but, I thought this was interesting and a good topic just to come up with. And we won't discuss it now. We'll do it for the show, but it's like, man, that's a great point. I don't research. Would I like to go in the woods and check things out? Yeah. And I'm going to, but I'm not going to put that moniker on my name.
No way, man. Too stressful.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to get out in the bush, man.
Oh yeah, me either.
Oh, there's our man, Super Quest. There he is. The man, the myth, and the legend all rolled into one.
Leroy. All right. Super Quest. Good to see you.
Love him, man.
He's
Love
cool,
him.
dude. I'll give a shout out. Steve Wolf. Steve Wolf, man, he's a great fan of the show. Steve, man, I love you. He's always always offering support. Michael Leger, race fan.
The Michael Leger.
The Michael Leger.
Mm-hmm. Don't blame you. Don't blame you.
My man, Joe Monk. Joe, man, I heard you're not coming to Vegas, Joe Monk.
I know, it's disappointing.
Man, we can't tilt him back, buddy. I was so looking forward to meeting Joe.
Oh, I know.
Joe
I know.
Monk.
You know what? He just likes to be a heartbreaker. Doesn't matter. Men, women, friends. He's just a heartbreaker.
Yeah. Pepa H.
Yes.
Peppa H. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Joe, man. I do have this feeling, though, that our paths will cross. They will cross.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll bring the beer. Mm-hmm. For our audience members, if you haven't read our social media posts today, Lynn Wallington will be moving her show from the weekends to Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're rebranding it the Lynn Wallington Show. Hey, there's Super Duke. Hope you're feeling better, buddy. Hope you're feeling better. But we're going to rename her show the Lynn Wallington Show. It's going to run at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern for 2 hours. It's going to give us finally our first weekday presence during the day. I'm so excited about it. And I know all of you are going to come out and support Lynn as she continues to just be a bastion of a bright light for this field. So necessary. So necessary. She's just amazing. And so I'm looking forward to it. And we're going to change the name of the After Hours show to Spaced Out Weekend. That'll continue. And we may have another show joining us. We're just working on that. It'll be a 1-hour show right before Spaced Out Weekend. And, well, I'm not going to give that one up just yet. Just yet. The main thing is make sure you go hang out, learn Lynn's new time. So if you're at work, you're driving in your car during the day or you're, whatever you're doing, Tuesdays and Thursdays, Spaced Out Radio will be right there for you during the day. It's going to be awesome right here on our YouTube channel. And very, very soon, we're going to be moving Lynn over to our podcast as well. So once she's on our podcast, then we'll be able to get her show out to our digital networks as well. So I'm very excited for expanding Lynn on SOR. It's pretty bloody amazing because she's just so awesome. She really is.
I agree, Dave. In fact, we promo her show on ours because she promos ours on her morning show from 8 in the East, Sunday through Friday. So that's awesome. Puts out a lineup, which is awesome. She's cool. Love her to death.
She's amazing. She is absolutely amazing. We got about 45 seconds here, Rob.
Good to see you, Super Duke. I'm holding down the fort for you, buddy. You can't take so much time off, man. I'm getting used to this chair over here, man. So I just gotta tell you.
Between you and Duke, you guys do a great job.
Thanks, Dave.
You do a great job.
I
I want to say a
appreciate
big thank you to Thomas, Liliopatra, and Patrick for the awesome super chats tonight. We very much appreciate the love and support. It's a great way to support what we do on a nightly basis. So thank you. Thank you to all the veterans who are tuned on in tonight. And here we go. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on with the Crypted Report. Bigfoot Michigan Rob is here from Brunch with Bigfoot Rob, and we're loving it here on SOR. Rob, how you doing?
Thanks for having me, Dave. Thank you, Super Duke. Hope you're feeling better. Love to fill in when I can. I love coming on Spaced Out Radio. And I love the opportunity from Dave Scott. Like I said, brother, I love you. Anything I can do for you, I will. And it's just a pleasure, my friend.
Really do appreciate that. Now, right before the break, we were talking about these weird sightings that people are having where all of a sudden Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it, is literally manifesting itself in places of common city areas. I mean, we expect this creature to be out in the forest. We expect this to be lurking around the dense jungles that we have here in North America. Do you buy a lot of these stories, Rob, about Sasquatch being seen in downtown Detroit or whatever major city around North America?
Dave, that's such a great question because I just gave that story about the one in Detroit, right? And again, I'm glad I don't call myself a researcher. I do what I do. You know what I do. Everyone knows what I do with the show. And when someone tells me something that they've seen or heard or report, I take it at face value and I'll report it because I'm a person that's not going to judge you. I'm open-minded. And what you're telling me, I believe you've seen or heard, yada, yada. Now, admittingly so, Dave, and I am the guy that says, I believe, because who am I to tell you, you did not have an experience, whether paranormal, Bigfoot, cryptid, alien, what have you. You can talk with me. I will listen to you. I will believe you. I have a hard time, and I will say this. I'm an honest guy. Bigfoot in a dumpster in Detroit, Michigan, to me, I have a hard time with that. And sometimes if I report on that, Dave, I feel like I maybe might lose credibility. Like, what's this guy doing? He's just coming up with something to get ratings or views or what have you. And I question that. Where I live, particularly 40 minutes away, is downtown Detroit. Now, it's off the Detroit River. There are woods. There are waterways. And there's just flat abandoned buildings everywhere, right? I'm more apt to believe a Bigfoot coming up on the river into an abandoned area that's surrounded by deadfall, surrounded by overgrowth of vegetation. Nobody goes there. The police don't go there. A human being doesn't go there. So, yes, it is kind of desolate. I mean, it's not the forest. It's not the Pacific Northwest. But you know what? It is overgrown. It reminds me of the jungle. So yeah, therefore I can see that. I can't see a Bigfoot walking down Times Square sporting a top hat and swinging a beautiful cane, however.
No, I agree with you on that. And look, I don't know your area at all, so I don't know what's happening over there. But I mean, look, we do know that animals, wild animals, doesn't matter whether it's coyotes or deer or rabbits or whatever, will take over areas that have been abandoned as nature reconstructs itself. Nature is very good at replenishing itself when given that ability. So, I mean, maybe it is possible, but it just doesn't make sense. And you know, for me, Rob, I believe a lot. I really do believe a lot because not only do I want to believe, okay, but I think people are having some very, very captivating experiences. And like you said, who are we? We've never stood in their shoes. We don't know what those people have experienced. So I think that's a very fair comment. But at some time, we got to draw the line a little bit. At least I try. I shouldn't say we, because that's just being a little bit arrogant. But for
Sure.
me, I try and draw the line a little bit on things like that because I just can't imagine, as much as I believe in Sasquatch and have seen Sasquatch and interacted with it, I can't see it, wanting to carry a handbag and go into Macy's and look for a new fur coat, right? Like
Yeah.
I can't imagine even dumpster diving in the middle of the city. These creatures to me have been very elusive at the best of times in their environment, and all of a sudden have them dumpster diving in the middle of Detroit where there's literally in that area probably what 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people
Yeah,
in that area.
well, yeah, well, like again, not to turn this into a comedy show, but I agree with you 1,000%. Now, in the city of Detroit, yeah, there's that many people as you suggested, but with this report, what I was talking about, this was in nowhere, no man's land, right? And I don't buy this, and now flat say it. No, I don't believe in Bigfoot in downtown Detroit by Tiger Stadium, by Ford Field, eating a damn McDonald's burger. I don't believe that. And I don't report anything like that, right? The report I gave was to me somewhat legitimate because, again, it's off the river, it's in the forest, it's very desolate. I wouldn't go there. I'd be scared to go there. The police don't venture there. That I can buy. I don't buy these other things that they're hanging out in a torn down subdivision where thousands of people dwelled. That's a little far fetched, and that's something I wouldn't even report or talk about. But to your point, I'm not going to report that because this is so hard to get over that hurdle about Sasquatch being a joke, anyways. So a report like that, a report like Sasquatch ordering a shake, a Big Mac, and fries to go as he's traveling down in his Huggy Mobile on Woodward Avenue just ain't going to cut it. And that's certainly something I'm not going to report on.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, as a researcher or somebody who trusts your opinion, you have to take the report. You have to,
Yes.
right? But I mean, like Swamp Dweller says, Sasquatch did a backflip over my tractor. I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about here. We always love it when the Swamp Dweller comes on in.
That's sweet. Thanks, Swampy.
Yeah, Swamped Out Radio, you're listening to right now. Dude's got me addicted to watching him play video games on Twitch now. Thanks,
Oh,
bud.
gosh.
Yeah, not only are you part of my pregame warm up now for the show, but now you're part of my evening routine, going to bed, listening to some Swamp Dweller. on YouTube and freaking myself out in the middle of the night when I wake up and I hear people talking, and then I have to realize that it's Swamp Dweller on my phone playing. This is what I go through every night, Rob.
We don't need any more natural vices, for God's sakes. I mean, something else now I'm probably going to check out, right? It's bad enough I go to bed at 4:30 in the morning and get up at like 8 in the morning. And I'm going to be checking that out, But that's
dude,
awesome,
honestly, I'm back in, and I've listened to the changing topics. I know I have been listening to Swamp Dwellers, letters from a cryptid hunter.
Right. Okay.
Parts 1 and 2, and they just blow me away. And then I have to, every day I wake up and the first thing out of my head is, okay, where did I leave off last night so I could continue tonight?
Yes.
It's the hardest thing. It is the hardest thing. I blame Swamp Dweller for that. Totally blame him, And look at this. Look at his attitude here. Glad to be of service, Dave. Yeah, thanks for freaking me out every night, man. Appreciate you.
Well, I tell you what, man, your guest he had on today freaked me out a little bit because I can manifest my own dreams. There's so much, I know we're coming up on it, but I can manifest dreams and have part 1, part 2, part 3. I can have concurrent dreams that are like a movie or a television series, and I can actually formulate them in my brain. I just can't, all the weird things I've experienced in life happened after my Bigfoot encounter. That is the thing that I'm really interested in diving into. I've seen ghosts. I've seen demons. Some people say I might have seen an alien. So it's a lot to unpack. Not today, of course, but yeah, and today's show, man, it was an awesome show. And once again, I don't know anything. Other than this. When I have ace king and I go $100 bet, Dave, you got to match it. You got to call me.
Well, that may happen in 29 days. That may happen in 29 days for the SOR Vegas party. Not going to lie. It may happen. And trust me, if I'm going in, I'm packing heat. I'm packing heat. Where your king ace offsuit are probably not aren't going to do too well.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I just hope you're not going with let's see, gut draw straight or something. What I mean?
No, just to upset you, I'm going to call you with my Jack 3 offsuit. Okay, and then I'm gonna hit 2 pair on the flop. Just to really stick it to you. And then when you get all mad at me, and say, what the hell are you playing that kind of bingo for, Dave? I'm going to use the excuse, Rob. I was big blind. I was protecting my
yes, of course. Yes, of course. Right. And I'm going to turn to Carter Bouchard, who's a 2-time winner, and say, yeah, can you believe this guy? Can you believe this spaced out radio guy?
Mm-hmm. It's going to happen. This is going to be reality very soon at our SOR Vegas party coming on up here April 22nd to 24th. And hey, if you're in the San Francisco Bay Area this weekend, I will be in San Francisco attending and speaking at UFO Con 2022. And I am very excited about this. This will be my 3rd time speaking at this event in 5 years. And I go down there every second year to speak. And Lorian Fenton does a great job at putting this together. And, any of our fans who are in the Northern California area or Southern Oregon, and you want to make a drive down to San Fran for the weekend, come hang out with us. UFOCon22.com is the website. I'd love to meet up with you guys and hang on out. That'll be a lot of fun. Robbie, it's time for us to get to the news here.
Very
so
good.
I'll get you to hold on. If you want to stick around, you can stick around. If not, well, I know you have some important bandana choices to make before Vegas. What colors are you gonna wear? So let's get to the news. right, let's see what Shirky Poo has packed for us. How are we supposed to know who the father is anymore? Yes, television heartbreak after 31 years of letting us know who the daddy is to teen pregnancies, mysterious illnesses, and who is and who isn't the father of the child. Maury Povich calling it a career. I didn't realize he's 83 years old. Yep. They didn't pick him up in syndication for a 32nd year, so old Maury decided to retire. Yeah, the daytime talk show host says he's ready. He was ready 6 years ago, but still followed through on his contract, even though I told him I was ready for assisted living out of loyalty to NBC Universal and my more than 100 staff and crew members. I agreed to one more deal. And then he goes, I'm so proud of my relationship with NBC Universal and all those who worked on the Maury Show, but as I occasionally tell my guests on Maury, enough already. Yeah, thank God. You should have been enough already about 25 years ago. His show launched in 1991. Yeah, it was the Maury Povich Show then. Then he shortened it to Maury in 98 because he wanted to be like Madonna and Cher and many others. Povich was a television journalist before going into the talk show circuit, beginning in Washington, where his father, Shirley, was a well-known sports writer. He anchored local news in Chicago, L.A., San Fran, and Philly. For a while in Los Angeles, his co-anchor was journalist Connie Chung, who he married in 1994. Yeah, Maury's calling it a career. What will we do? Who will pick up all of those paternity tests now? Because we got to figure that one out. A couple reckon they have managed to capture footage of a ghost roaming around their house at night. Joey and Amy Radke say they were previously warned that their home was haunted by demonic entities before they moved in a couple of years ago. Of course, because they're the yuppie types, they didn't believe in that kind of stuff. Yeah, right. Didn't pay any attention. Always felt comfortable until recently. Footage caught on camera that the couple had set up to keep an eye on their pets appears to show a figure walking around their hallway. Yeah, this figure looks like a man wearing white overalls with black boots and short hair. Taking a closer look at the footage, old Joey and his partner couldn't figure it out. Yeah. Oh, they believe, though. See, this is how we see things differently. I gave you my description. They say it shows a figure wearing a nightie and a bouffant hairdo, much like Gail Captain Shirk's beehive, where she loses her glasses all the time. After seeing the video, Joey decided to do some digging, examining more footage, asking neighbors about the property's history. Following his investigations, Joey reckons the figure is likely to be that of an elderly lady who died in the house years before and was carried out of the house wearing a nightie. Oh, it's all coming together now. The sales worker is convinced that the footage is proof of the afterlife and believes the clip is the holy grail of ghost videos and says it can't be faked. Boy, have we heard that one before. 100 times before. We took it to my brother-in-law's house, the tape that is, and set it up on the TV so we could make out the woman with the beehive. We just gasped. It freaks my wife out thinking about it. She doesn't want to talk about it. A woman died in our bedroom many years ago. The neighbors say she was taken out by paramedics in her nightgown. No, they're not happy. They've got ghosts. They've got ghosts. Here's a weird one in South Carolina. Prosecutors there chose not to file charges in relation to an incident where a man who fell off his jet ski was shot and killed by his rescuer. Yeah, figure this one out. Yep, the sheriff's office said in a statement that prosecutors ruled the shooting was in self-defense. Yeah, a man and a woman, neither wearing life jackets, fell off a jet ski into Lake Kiowee. Bystanders on a pontoon saw the incident and, believing the man and woman were in distress in the water, brought them on board. But then things went really, really weird. The man, who had been rescued, became agitated and began assaulting the couple on the pontoon. Investigators have been told that the man may have wanted to get back on the jet ski. The woman who was rescued allegedly pushed the man back into the water, but the rescuers helped him back out of the water for a second time. A confrontation followed. Police said the man on the pontoon boat shot the man, fearing for his and his wife's life after being assaulted. Oh, there's more to this. There's more to this. There's got to be. All right, let's continue on. Let's go to this one here. Are you missing any teeth? I know we got a lot of UK listeners here. Are you missing a set of teeth right now? A British restaurant is trying to find the owner of a set of false teeth. The Barclays Pizza and Prosecco, located in Royton, Oldham, England, said workers were cleaning in the early morning hours of Sunday when they found a full set of teeth dentures on the floor in the bar area of the eatery. Emma Whalen, owner of the establishment, posted a photo to the business's Facebook page saying, "Teeth, Saturday, 19th of March, 2022. We get a lot of things left behind at night in the Barclays," she said. "We've had house keys, phones, even a single shoe, but the falsies, that's a new one." Finally tonight, let's go to Florida because we can. Florida cop was fired after his ex-girlfriend tattled to his bosses that he solicited male sex workers, took graphic photos, and sent them to men on Grindr off the job and while on duty. Joshua Brack, former deputy sheriff in Palm Beach County, was investigated in 2021 after his vengeful ex-girlfriend revealed to authorities how he really behaved on the job. It's alleged that the former sheriff or deputy sheriff engaged in misconduct and or committed various crimes while wearing his badge and his billy club. Thank you to Shirky Poo for the news, Bigfoot Rob for the Crypted Report, Swamp Dweller, and Julio Consiglio for our guest tonight. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Facebook, Twitter, and I don't know, wherever else you may be listening. That's up to you. I know you're out there somewhere. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. What the hell, Rob?
Sorry.
I wasn't prepared for that. That was awesome.
That's live radio, baby.
You got that right. That's going out to the world right there. Bigfoot and Rob. We own the night.
Oh, geez.
You're awesome, brother. You are awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Super Lou from UCR. How's your cape, man? How's your cape? Oh, that's good stuff. That is good stuff.
That was fun. That was fun for impromptu, man. Thank you.
Oh, man. Yep, that was good times tonight. Very good times.
Yeah, that was a cool show.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
That guy, man, your guest, man, he hit a lot of things that we we won't talk today, but man, it's like, wow. I got to rewatch a lot of that because I only saw like the last 35 minutes, 40 minutes of the show, but man, pretty sweet.
Yeah, man. Him and I, thank you, Swamp Dweller. Appreciate you, brother. I'll probably, a Swampy, if you haven't left yet, I'll probably send you a message in the next day or two. Yeah, good old Swampy.
Yeah.
Good old Swampy. Gotta love him. Gotta love him. How do you not?
Absolutely.
How do you know? Okay, what the hell am I doing here?
It's
tomorrow night on the show, by the way. Who do we got? Who's tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow is Susan Messino. Susan Messino will be with us. And we are going to be talking about rock and roll and the paranormal.
wow.
Rock and roll and the paranormal. How good is that?
You know, there's a lot of creepy stuff I heard about that down at the Viper Room in Hollywood, California, with supposedly the one actor, lead actor.
Yeah.
You know, Phoenix River Phoenix
Yeah.
or whatever.
Apparently, Lemmy, I mean, maybe it's just wishful thinking, but I mean, there's rumors going around that Lemmy Kilmister is haunting the Rainbow, where he used to hang out every night before he died.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, one thing I can't watch a lot of is ghost stuff. That does creep me out. Ghosts, ugh. I don't know. But it makes for great radio and great talk because it is very interesting. I am extremely interested in it, but man, it's like, wow. I gotta tell you some stories. Maybe I don't know. I think me and Tex are on April 6th. I have to check the calendar.
Yeah. Oh, let's see what Swampy did today. I'll figure it out here for a second. What are we at count wise? 15,860. 140 more to go. That's the quickest 1,000 we've ever turned, man. Quickest. We could hit that by Vegas.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Totally hit that by Vegas.
What was that number? 15 what?
15,860.
Oh, yeah, that's easy. That's an easy done.
Look at our buddy Swamp Dweller here. You know, this guy, he continues to pat us on the back. Continues to pat us on the back. I learned so much off of this guy. You know, and his channel, one thing I learned is if you have something that the people like and you hit those algorithms and all of a sudden it's like YouTube sends a bunch of people to you. Like Swampy there, I mean, I keep watching him. It seems like he's pushing like almost 1,000 new subscribers a week lately.
Jeez.
You know, I don't think I'm off too far on that, brother. I don't think I'm off on that too far. But I mean, he is kicking ass and taking names. And that's why, you know, I'm probably old enough to be his dad, but I really look at him as a mentor in this whole thing, man, because he does it right. You know, he does it right. He works hard for that. And, you know, and we work hard too. We're just doing it a little messier. And I'm just trying to clean that up, you know, and using a lot of his advice on doing that. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
So
I think,
look forward to
they always say, look at the people you strive to want to be like when it comes to anything, you know, and that's what I do. You know, I follow you and watch you only because I love your show and I respect what you do and maybe one or two others, but you're my main go-to guy when I need something. So, and that's how it should be. And if you see somebody who's got 250,000 subscribers getting 1,000 a week, you're damn right you want to know what their secret ingredient is without copying it, of course, and create your own thing and build off that platform.
Yeah. When I found his channel last year, and I reached out to him to come out on the show, I subscribed. I think it was around 241,000 when I subscribed. So in those 8 months, he's gone up 15,000, 16,000 subscribers. I mean, that's just kicking ass and taking names. I friggin' love it. I love success stories like that. Just love it.
Absolutely.
That's why we push all of our audience over to him as well, because I really, really believe in this young man and what he does. And he likes good music too, good rock and roll music. I mean, he's the type of guy where there's no way he would ever play for Coldplay. No way. He's got better taste than that.
Coldplay. You know what, Dave, man, there's no good rock and roll music today. It's all back. It's not even, it don't even exist. I'll be honest with you. When if I turn, which I don't, by the way, but if I turn on a actual radio station that supposedly plays music, couldn't even tell you who it is or what it is. Couldn't even tell you what genre of music it is. Because to me, rock and roll is dead compared to the stuff that I like and enjoyed growing up. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, man, with 80s rock and roll, right? And my dad was a 50s, 60s, 70s guy. So I like it from the 50s all the way to probably maybe the 90s, maybe I mean, I can't even remember music in 2010, to be honest with you.
The two bands that I really enjoy today that are newer, even though they've been around for a while, I really, really like Avatar and Hailstorm. I think you would like Hailstorm, Rob.
Yeah, no, I have to check them out. I've never heard of them, to be honest. Like I say, I don't even pay attention anymore, but I'll check it. Hail, like how it spell it.
Hale Storm.
Okay, I'll check that out.
Lizzie Hale, the singer, has a beautiful rock and roll voice.
Oh, it's a woman? A lady?
Yeah.
A girl?
Yeah.
I dig chick singers.
Yeah. Lizzie Hale. She is one of the only females in the history of Gibson guitars to have a guitar contract.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely look that up.
Yeah, she's phenomenal.
The last woman singer I liked was from Evanescence.
Yeah.
I liked her. And of course, old school Stevie Nicks when I was like a little boy. I loved
come on. She sounds like a goat.
I liked her when she was young, like she was 22. When she got older, yeah, I agree. Kind of piggish.
The South Park nailed that one perfectly.
With
exactly. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you, Stevie Nicks. Right.
I will agree with you, but I liked her in the early days when the 70s. The Rumors album was pretty good. I dug it, but
yeah,
my mom and dad had that when I was a little kid, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
Bumblefoot's band, Sons of Apollo, is really good too. Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I listen to a lot of Octane on Sirius XM. That's where I get all.
Yeah, actually, I just subscribe. I just subscribed to that. I got this big. It's over here. You can't see it. I bought this. I love to be outside, and I can never get. You can't stream shit off your phone or your computer. So I finally found a radio that will stream my stuff off my phone. Yet it will also pick up all the radio stations, and I download and I subscribe to Sirius XM, and this thing is a beast. You can hear it a mile away if I really turned it up, and it's nice and crystal clear. So I'm excited to get it out this summer on the deck.
Mm-hmm. Mark Ford saying Theory of a Dead Man. Now here's an interesting story about Theory of a Dead Man. Merle's daughter goes to school with the girl with a girl whose father is the bass guitarist for Theory of a Dead Man.
Oh, wow.
Either goes to school or is in dance club with her. One of the two. I think it's school. We'll have to ask Merle.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. Davey Crotch Kick, how are you? Good to see you. Gorgeous Larry, how you doing, buddy? Gorgeous Larry's looking gorgeous tonight. Merle. I was talking to Merle earlier tonight.
What's up with Merle?
Oh, he was working tonight.
Yeah, that does happen. That gets in the way of certain things, anyways. You know, it's funny, man, when I had my bar for 13 years and I sold it right before COVID. It's like I'm always searching for other things to do. I'm actually busy because I'm not like home that much, but it's like wow. And so
I miss you having a bar.
I know you do, Dave, because I loved it. For those of you that don't know out there, when I first started watching Space Out Radio, listening about 3 years ago, I think it was, I broadcast Dave's shows live from my bar. We had the two sections. We had the main section, then we had the Spaced Out Radio section, which it kind of just evolved. And so we would have about a group of 5-6 people that dug Dave's show, and we'd come back there. I'd have it on the big screen, and we'd watch the show, and we would have drinking games. And so every time Dave said plethora, the house had to buy a round. So I got broke pretty much a lot on that. But anytime that someone said the woo, then my customers had to buy. So it equaled out. It was great times. And yeah, I miss those days, Dave, man. I wish I still had that bar, dude. But I tell you, I worked 7 days a week, 18 hours a day for 13 years, man. And then I would have blown my mind had I lost that when the big C hit, right? So I kind of lucked out when I sold it.
Unknown, I do like looking at weird objects on the moon and Mars. Yeah, I still wish you did, though, Rob. I really do.
Well, you never know, man. I mean, things are looking up, so I'm just not going to sit here. I'm not just going to sit here and do radio shows and podcasts. I got to do something else as well because I get too antsy.
I'll come work for you.
Be a great time, man. The key is the location. I like you know what I'd love to do is open a bar in the middle of the woods, you know, however, where there's people that are going to come in, obviously. It can't be that desolate, of course. And just call it Bigfoot Rob's or something. Make a totally different name.
I was going to set up a bar here in my town called the Lazy Sasquatch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be really cool.
I was seriously thinking about Bigfoot Rob's. Now that's kind of my moniker, you know, Bigfoot. I mean, I started that moniker just to put out one video about my encounter. Now it's kind of I can't get rid of it. You know, so. But Bigfoot Rob's bar would be cool. The Lazy Sasquatch is cool. I don't know. We'll see.
I'd lend you that name. I'll probably never do anything with it.
Well, Dave, with your work and you're doing the radio gig, I mean, shit.
You know what my dream is? to actually have a coffee bar, even though I don't drink coffee, have my show in a place where I can have a bar / restaurant, whether with a coffee bar and a tattoo shop.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. I can see that. Drink a nice espresso while you're getting your favorite ink
Yeah.
painted on.
If I was in a bigger market, I would totally do a tattoo shop with a bar and the radio show going.
That's awesome because, yeah, I mean that's crazy because I was just picturing back when your show was I was playing your show at my bar a few years back and serving drinks. I was like, because I always did want to be in broadcasting. My dad told me to go into don't do that because you ain't gonna make no money. So I took his advice, fine and dandy. But there were days where I was sitting at the bar your show would be, and I think that would be so cool to have a radio show at the bar with my guests. Not guests, now my customers back then, right? Sitting around doing a live show from the bar and stream it. I thought that'd been so cool to do something like that.
Totally would be. Totally would be. I'd love to do that. I couldn't do it in my community here. Could not do it in my community. It's just too small.
Yeah.
But if I was in like the Vancouver area, something like that would totally work.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Hell, what I'm doing now with Text Man, I plan on doing for a while. And if I ever got a bar back, we could, I'd like to shoot an episode right there, right? That'd be sweet. That's actually now my head is starting to turn just talking to you like that.
Yep. Totally do it. Totally. How you doing, bud? I got my my new tires on my Sasquatch rig today.
Yeah.
Just waiting for the
Snow to melt.
Yep. It's what's the temperature here? It snow's melting pretty quick right now. Right now it's 6 degrees Celsius, 42 Fahrenheit, which means we are officially in melting mode.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, Swamp Dweller's still here. I thought he went back off to bed.
Well, that's an honor for me, man. I'm up. The Swamp Dweller's sitting here. Thank you, buddy. Just here shooting the breeze.
Scary
Stories bar. Yeah. Cool. We'll have to hook up, Swampy. You never know what's down the road.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I gotta say, for those of you still in chat, please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Thank you.
Yes, please do. You got to put your link in our chat room, dude.
I know I suck with technology, man.
Oh my God! Do I got to do everything for you?
I think I just got it out there. Yeah, there it is.
Are you on Texas channel? Is that where you run it?
Yeah, well, actually, we have 4 shows all run on Texas channel. I simulcast on mine, and I'm building up mine because I want to have a separate entity on the side. So my channel's got like mine's called Bigfoot Michigan Rob, and Texas is Texas Front Porch. But I already put my link.
Subscribe to yours.
Yeah, I think you subscribed to mine. I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't have you. I got to mark you on my. You need to put myself and Swamp Dweller on your channel.
Absolutely, we'll start doing that. I think yes, we always promote you guys. Well, I promote you, Dave. I'll put Swamp Dweller on and SOR because
I'm gonna.
we do make mention word of mouth on the show, but we'll put you in the link.
Oh no! Don't put us in the link. Just put us in your community.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
That's all you need to do.
Yeah, because we do that for Lynn.
Yeah. I gotta make sure I got you guys on here. And mine here. Let me check here. I'll add you here. Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Where are you? Edit section content. Do I have you in here? No, we'll add you right now.
Cool. Yeah, you probably have Texas Front Porch, which is fine because that's I guess what we call the flagship station.
Yeah.
And mine's simulcast. See, we set up a deal where every show on Front Porch is simulcast through Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Plus,
Yeah.
I do my vlog and I put out some video today. So I do things on the side too. So
I just added both of you guys on ours for our friends list.
That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah. You got to put ours on your channels.
I will. Absolutely.
We got to get Lynn's numbers up on hers too.
Yeah, because I know Lynn's because we put up the rebellion in our community, and we'll put SOR, and we're going to put Swampy. So Swamp Dweller, if you're out there, you'll be in our community channel, and so will Dave, along with Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just kind of leave it at that for now because, like you said some time ago, I don't want to.
Look who it is. Uncle Jim Goodall, right there. Uncle Jim, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, Jim.
The legend.
I saw you, Jim, with Lynn on that show. The name that was pretty cool. That was an apropos name for the show. Pretty sweet.
It's all Goodall.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a great job. Let's see here.
Okay, Ann. Yeah, I got purple too, Ann. Thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. We're gonna have 4 shows now coming at everybody. In fact, Thursday we got Ken Gerhard coming on for brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. That'd be a cool show. And I think we're speaking in Alabama at the Alabama Bigfoot Conference. That'll be sweet. Our first engagement doing something like that. So it's looking pretty cool. We got, I'm enjoying it right now. Pretty good ride thus far.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Let's see, where are we here? Hey, Uncle Jim, give us an update on how your wife's doing, buddy. We would appreciate that. We would appreciate it. Hey, you're just getting subscribers after subscribers here, buddy.
Oh yeah, I haven't looked it up yet. I hate looking at stuff up. For those that are subscribing, thank you very much. I'm kind of modest, man. I hate to. I'd rather promote somebody else, but yeah, I'm not gonna say that I don't like it because I do. That's the only way you can grow. But thank you for everybody that's subscribing.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff, man. Never be afraid to plug yourself.
Right.
Never be afraid.
Well, it's weird because when I owned a bar for 13 years, I plugged myself all the time. I was always looking at the numbers. Did we sell 127 beers today or 137? And it's kind of like, and I'm trying to get texts in that game, the business sense of running everything. It's like, hey man, there's certain things we need to be doing, and so we make a good team. And but I'm pretty humble dude. I've come from humble beginnings, and it's like I don't like to overextend my boundaries with anybody. And so
Oh, you're not overstepping your boundaries whatsoever.
yeah.
Jim, that's great news, bud. That's great news that the wife is almost 100%. Fantastic. Love hearing that. Can't wait to see you in Vegas in a couple of weeks. Hey, there's the fedora wearing John Hudson.
Johnny.
I can check in on the watering hole. Yep. Let me check in. See how we're doing in Namibia right now. Let's do a little share screen here as we go live. And let's go here. Oh, there we are. A little freak out session by the... Oh, look! Oh, the ibexes are back. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Look at them. Mr. Eon, the voice of the gods. How are you, buddy? Look at those. This guy here is at the Salt Lick right now. He's a big bastard. They're not leaving. They're hanging out. Look at this guy. He's all like, oh, no, there's a bird there. I can't drink some water because of the damn bird. Look at him. Chicken shit. This one here, you could tell right now, plays soccer. There. Finally, he played a hockey move there. Look at the size of those horns. My goodness. Those are gorgeous creatures. I didn't even know they existed until I started watching this channel.
It's funny that I never knew YouTube. I only used YouTube for music videos up until 3 years ago. Let alone looking up live stuff like this. I never even did this before until I seen it on your show.
Well, it's 9:30 in the morning there. Those are gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Oh, yeah, now they're leaving. Yeah, dirty bastards.
Yeah.
Where's the zebras? Oh, they're coming back one at a time. I want to see the giraffes again. I've only seen the giraffes once. The giraffes are pretty cool.
Oh, that's pretty cool there. So what is that they're walking up on right there? This almost that's man-made, ain't it?
Yeah, that is man-made. That spring goes down like 350 feet. And this big rock right in the center here is what covers the pipe that brings the water up.
Okay.
And then every now and again they turn up the pump to get more water in there to flood in here a little bit. But when I was watching this morning, my morning, their night, they had the most wicked thunderstorm going on there with rain and everything. So all the ground is looking wet because of the storm last night for them, early morning for us. Yep, the Namibia desert. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
25.7 degrees Celsius. So it's about 76, 77 degrees Fahrenheit right now.
Well,
good time.
Mm-hmm.
Good times. Just look at those antlers, though. Holy cow.
Oh, I was about to say, man, that's beautiful, though. Beautiful animals.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're a gorgeous animal. Ibex, IBEX. That's what they are.
Well, here's a question that we're talking about, and this sounds like maybe a dumb question, but you know what? The zebras has the human being ever like rode a zebra like a horse, or is that something that's just off limits? I've never seen that or heard of that ever, and I always wondered. You know, I mean, you've seen a donkey, you've seen a mule with humans, but never a zebra. I know it's kind of an off question, but just never seen it.
No, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I think a zebra is more like a donkey.
Yeah.
Oh, they're letting the little one. The little one's all shy of the birds. Yeah, he'll go back to the watering hole. There's no birds there to scare him.
So have you ever seen a video where you'd have a group of animals get spooked and just take off and see a predator in the background?
I've seen animals spooked on here, but I've never seen the predators. The only real predator that they have in this desert is the cheetah. There's no lions, no tigers, no jaguars here. So that's pretty cool. Are these guys leaving? You bastards. All right, you know what? You guys are boring. Let's go find a different channel here. Let's go back to live. And what other one? I got that picture on my wall right there. I love that picture. Let's see here. Let's see what's happening in Tembe. Oh, the elephants are spread out today.
Oh, wow.
Look at that one. Getting itself all covered in mud there. Going to cool itself down. What do we got? 1, 2, 3. That's a big sucker right there. Holy cow. 4, 5, 6 elephants. I love elephants.
I think like most kids, man, when I was a little kid, I had my mom and dad to get me the encyclopedia of all the African mammals. You know, had the elephants, tigers, lions, giraffes, all the basics.
This is just amazing. I love the elephants.
Mm.
Look at the size of the tusks there. Holy cow. Some big tusks.
Yeah.
The Unknown. It's just on YouTube. It's called Africam. So if you Africam is the channel. I just typed it into the chat room. If you go on there, they got like a number of different channels there that they have live cameras for. So I'll show you. So let's Rosie's Pan here, which is another. Oh, look at here. We got elephants at Rosie's Pan here. This is only the second time I've seen this. This is cool. Oh, look at this big guy coming in. Holy cow.
Wow.
Huge.
Oh, wow. Yeah, compared to that little one, look at that. I thought that little one was huge.
That's a big female right there. Holy cow. Love this. The other day, like way over here, they swung the camera into a different area here. But way over here, they were showing this boa constrictor or python lying on a tree sunbathing. I'm like, nope. Nope.
My first encounter with a snake wasn't quite that, but it was like my dad, when I was growing up, he bought his house, the house I grew up in, and the house next door was like infested with weeds or whatever, and he's out back, and so he had whatever he had in his hand, some sort of long long garden tool with like a clip on the end where you could pick things up with. He picks up this white snake. It had to have been 4 or 5 feet long, about 2 inches in diameter, and it was just like squirming around. And my dad's laughing at me because he started like putting it by me, and I'm like, "Dad, what are you doing?" I almost like start crying. I'm like 5 or 6. He's laughing, and then he loses the grapplers that he had the snake in, and the thing took off, and it was like white. It was white and just creepy looking, and ever since that day, yeah, snakes and me, no, thank you. No, thank you, Mr. Snake.
These two youngins are having fun in the pool here. They're going to get the call soon. Time to go.
Yeah.
All right, they're leaving. Let's go see what else we got here on Africam. Let's check out Tau. Oh, there's the wildebeest and an ostrich. Otherwise known as canoes. They're tough sons of bitches. You have to be if you're that ugly. Look how big that ostrich is, eh?
And pulling it up there. Jeez, oh, pigs.
There.
Yeah, I see it. Oh, my Lord. Look at that.
It's a lot of meat on the barbecue there. Just saying.
I know.
else we got here? Okay, we've tried Tembe, Tao, Oliphants River. I never see anything here. Never. Like, there's hippopotamuses and crocodiles in here.
Oh,
You're a dead man going through that river. Just saying.
no, there's
You're a
gotta be. Yeah, of course there is.
dead man going through here. Well, that one's kind of boring. Rosie's Pan we just did. Let's do Cat Eye here. See what's happening at Cat Eye. Oh, they're scanning. See if we can see anything. Yell at them to stop the camera. I don't think there's anything here right now.
No.
See what else we got. Africam. And let's go to Roko. You have anything there? Oh, we got something. They're zooming in. What's over there? Oh, right there. Springbok. Grazing away.
Just looking at that, Dave, is like amazing as to what's really out in there.
Oh,
Forest, that jungle. That's like,
oh, yeah.
that's like awesome. Totally awesome.
Okay, so there we have. We're there. Lisbon Falls is gorgeous here. Check this out. How beautiful that is.
Oh, wow.
To me, this looks like a husband and wife. Right here. This looks like, and this looks like a woman with the veil over her head.
I was about to say, it looks like something long draped over her head, either hair or veil, and the dude standing just a little bit taller, a little bit wider. Yeah,
Yep.
it does. I can see that exactly.
It looks like a man and a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, the unknown. Getting married.
And just look how perfectly that pour is coming down that ridge, the rocks over to the waterfall. Just like you can't make it any better than that. Can't be manufactured.
No, that's cool. So cool. That's gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Good night, Uncle Jimbo. Don't know if we'll be able to hear this. Hold on. Let me see here, because usually they have microphones on. I have one. There we go. That totally is beautiful.
Sounds pretty cool. My headphones on. Pretty cool.
All right. See what else we got. One more time. Camphors. Never anything here. Just a bunch of birds. I want to see hippopotamuses, man. this one? Where am I going here? I think I've found all of them, the live cameras. And where am I going here? What the hell is it? Why did it disappear on me? Weird. Home. Oh, yeah. Nothing there. Not a thing. Well, that's a sign. Well, on that note,
Yes,
I'm going to say thank you to Patrick, Lilio, Patra, and Thomas for the amazing super chats tonight. Thank you. It all helps out what we do on a nightly basis. So thank you so much. Big thank you to our audience and to Bigfoot Michigan Rob for coming on in, covering for the deathly ill Super Duke. And tomorrow night on the show, Susan Messino stops by. Rock and roll and paranormal, all wrapped into one. Bigfoot Michigan Rob, we're going to need you to warm up that trumpet, man, because here we go. Good night, buddy.
Very good. Thank you. Thank everybody. Dave, love you. All be good. Safe night.
Bye-bye.